Well, hello, everybody. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, your friendly neighborhood Christian whistleblower, and we're coming here to you with a gospel truth extravaganza. It's the last day on the planet, last chance for the Rapture extravaganza. I'm joined with Tamu and Gina. We'll have many, many people joining us tonight. Last chance. And how about muting your stuff over there, Gina? Let me go ahead and get this started off right. Just 1 second here, folks. We're going to start this off on the right foot. You ready? Ready to rock and roll?
Ready, Freddy.
There you go. Let's get this thing started.
It's September 23rd and the last day on the planet. The last day on the planet. The last day on the planet. It's September 23rd.
One more time.
It's September 23rd and the last day on the planet. The last day on the planet. The last day on the planet. It's September 23rd.
And that is multi-Emmy Award and Grammy nominee Catrice Barnes. And she may be
create a stunning website.
Whoops.
I've already done it with Wix.
And that's a free ad from Wix that they I'm gonna need stop. Okay. And she may be joining us tonight if she's able, and she may not be joining us, but she did want you to know she's going to release a polka album coming up tomorrow. And of course, the only reason you said that is because the Rapture is supposed to happen. There wouldn't be it tomorrow. So polka album. But we do have our Ascension robes on. You see Tamu has her Hello Kitty Ascension robe. And I've got my, it's not Ritz-Carlton, it's Renaissance issue Ascension robe. And let's see who's in the chat room today. And it's time to party like it's the end of the Rapture. We're expecting a lot of guests here tonight. Denise is here, Recovering Soul, Stacy, Anna, HDTV, Teresa Burke, Renve, CC Williams. Hello, CC Williams. How you doing, my brother? Denise James, Amanda. I think I said Teresa Book. It's too hot in here for a robe. Rex said he was going to wear a robe, but I don't know how he's going to wear a robe in his grandma's garage. It's hot as hell. So, folks, here we are talking about, and we're making light of it, but we do need. I think it is incumbent upon us to talk about the serious nature of it. And Tamu, you said something to me earlier about people that you heard of that were very upset and very worried about this Rapture thing. Relate that to us, if you would.
I just mentioned earlier, I just wonder how many people, were frightened, sold their items, moved, how this caused a lot of emotions in people. And it's, a little bit concerning.
Absolutely. I've actually sat across from people. And Denise James says she's in her 90. So I've actually sat across from people and watched tears come down their eyes and watched fear in their eyes. And they told me about cleaning out their bank accounts. They told me about moving to high ground. And they were already in Tennessee. But they were moving to even higher ground because L.A. Marzulli said that the Rapture was going to come on September 23rd. And they thought Nibiru was going to be soon to follow. So they were bugging out. So there's actually a lot of real people, real live people that are very, very worried, very, very upset, and very, very, we're having a PJ party. It should have been a toga party, maybe. Very, very upset about this thing. So that has to be said. That has to be spoken. And we have to keep that in mind as well, I think.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to what's going to happen at midnight because, September 23rd is not over yet. So there's still hope.
That's why we have the last chance Rapture party. Amanda B's wearing a bikini and a dress. Okay. And not to mention that, some people on Thursday, I believe it was, as Jen Fisher, right, reported to us that in Southern California, somebody was able to hack into the communications grid of Charter Communications and Spectrum Communications. Folks, that is not easy to do. And they were able to leverage the technological expertise, and they were able to leverage the know-how and the desire to do that. And that is rather scary to me because they were motivated to do that by the September 23 idea. And I'm afraid that some of them are going to be motivated to go blow up the Dome of the Rock over in Jerusalem so they can get their supposed mystery fantasy third temple built. It's not outside the realm of possibility. And even though we're making light of this and, you know, we're laughing to keep from crying, there are some very real issues in order here.
Right.
And if you have any questions, feel free to shout them out in the chat room. I'm going to continue to look and see as people come in and out. And look at Tamu and Gina. She's got some, it looks like some NCK original handcrafted divining rods.
Yes, I do. They just came in the mail today.
She had some, she said they weren't pounded out quite straight enough for her. But Tamu is like a coppersmith artist, and I'm like not. So there they are, but they look good.
Yes, they do. And they feel very good and very good weight. So I am excited.
Can you feel that Scott moved the date from the 23rd to the 24th? He did not. Warrior Princess says Scott Clark moved the date from the 23rd to the 24th. And let me say before we go on that I have invited, and if you, Tamu can attest to this invitation, I did extend an invitation for L.A. Marzulli to be part of this Last Chance, Last Day on the Planet, Rapture Extravaganza. And I even took their names off of it because it was originally titled The Last Day on the Planet, Last Chance for the Rapture. It ain't over till Marzulli and Clark and this guy, Brother Breaker, sing Rapture Extravaganza. But I was trying to be, you know, trying to be like I always am, inclusive and unconfrontational. So I did invite L.A. Marzulli and I did invite Scott Clark. But I have not received word back from either of them, but they both are welcome. If they do come, I promised them that they would have courtesy and respect. So we won't make fun of them if they come on until they leave. I'm kidding.
All right. Do we have anyone in the waiting room yet?
Not yet. And now they're saying October. I did hear a guy, George Norrie talked about a guy saying, oh, it's actually going to be in October. So get used to it, folks. The next 7 years of this tribulation on Christianity, jubilation, and spirituality, we're going to see a whole bunch of this stuff because their rapture's been ruptured. And that's the problem. So, well, we still have about almost 3 hours left, Tamu.
Well, at least on this side of the globe, we do. On the other side of the globe, it's already the 24th. So I'm not sure if that side of the globe, if people are still intact and, you know, it's still okay over there.
King Jason 13 says he hopes that his wife doesn't get raptured before she brings home his food. And I'm getting a word from Warrior Princess that Scott made a video. Did he mention my name, Warrior Princess? I heard that he made one especially for me the other day.
Ooh.
So anyway, they're saying that after this rapture, the tribulation is going to start on October 21st or something like that. So
okay.
Davey says they're okay in Scotland. Good to hear that, brother. And Lee Veltman says Nibiru is just really, really slow. And Lee, I didn't get your email address. That's why you didn't get an invite. But very, very interesting stuff. And you know, it is serious. A lot of people have taken it seriously. A lot of people have been very worried about it. And Tamu, was there ever a time in your life where you were worried about the rapture?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, I know that you've had a wide and varied journey within spirituality, and I thought that maybe at one time you would have been part of that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't check my brain at the door.
Well, good for you. Good for you. And I remember being a Pentecostal evangelist, and we were all about the rapture. And when I was really in my heyday, there was this movie called, what was it called? A Thief in the Night. And I don't know if any of you have ever heard of that in the chat room, but it was called A Thief in the Night. Did you ever remember that, Tamu?
I do think I recall that movie. Yeah. Yeah.
Scott changed the rapture date to the 24th. Well, we're not doing this again tomorrow. But I would welcome him to come on and explain that to me. I thought he said he wasn't a date setter, but now he's changing the date he set to a new date. Okay. Bobby Clem says, no rapture. What am I going to do with all this kite string? I don't get it, but it's still kind of. So anyway, A Thief in the Night, and we would play that movie. And then I would go out there afterwards and preach and get people to get saved. And I remember I could preach hell so hot that those people's feet would burn. And I could scare a couple of hundred every night into coming down and getting saved. And you know we was taking an offering right afterwards. And then we were going to Shoney's. I'm just being real.
Big boy. Shoney's big boy.
Frisch's big boy. Shoney's big boy.
Wow. Wow.
That's what we were doing.
You know, it's just sad. It's, you know, I don't know.
So it's all about fear. And that Thief in the Night was the whole, they're driving the car, they're gone, the car crashes, the plane crashes, the cake batter goes all over the place because people get raptured and some don't get raptured. And of course, we remember the whole Left Behind book series, right?
Right, right.
Ken Jenkins and Tim LaHaye, all about scaring folks. And they even had a crappy movie series on Left Behind, right?
Well, you know, it's that whole codependent, abusive relationship thing going on, and it's really hard to get out of that.
Right. And I think the last movie was so bad that even broke-ass Nicolas Cage starred in it, because he will star in any movie. If you want to make a movie and you got like $500, send it to Nicolas Cage and he'll star in your movie. I like him, but he's been in some bad movies. And he does have, you know, some interesting, I think he's got some financial problems. So Rudy said he wanted to see something happen. He's upset that nothing's going to happen. And I thought the trumpets would have been there. She was looking forward to the trumpets. Davey was looking forward to the trumpets over in Scotland. And yeah, those books, the co-workers used to let me borrow the books. Anna says, Davey just randomly blurted out Elvis. I'm okay with that.
Well, maybe you should break out the rods and, you know, ask the rods if the rapture is going to happen on the 24th or October 21st. Isn't that another day?
Oh, that's right. We already know that. Yeah, Nicolas Cage does look like crap. Yeah, if you're coming on the show, try to maintain your language to acceptable standards, because Rex was saying that YouTube is getting harsh on that. They're cracking down. I have liked Nick Cage though. I like his movies. So is the rapture going to happen on September 23rd? If these things say yes, I'm going to freak. Is the rapture going to happen on September 23rd? No. Ask yours, Tommy. I want to see if yours work. I want to see if you can work them.
Okay. All right.
You need a lesson?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm holding them properly. Actually.
You want to hold them? You just want to hold them straight out. And before you ask the question, put your thumbs on top to keep them steady.
Okay.
And then ask your question. And as soon as you ask your question, take your thumbs off, and that way they can move freely. So is the rapture going to happen on September 23rd?
Okay. Is the rapture going to happen on September 23rd?
Look at that. No. How about that? Interesting, huh? Is the rapture going to happen on September 24th? No.
Okay. Is the rapture going to happen on September 24th?
Look at that. That's awesome. Yours worked too. Is Nick Cage's career basically over?
That's not nice.
No.
Come on. Leave Nick Cage alone.
I do like his movies, so I don't know why I'm ragging on him so hard.
He gave us Raising Arizona, and for that, I will always love him.
I always love him for National Treasure and the one with the motorcycle guy that was
right.
skeleton. What was that called?
I can't remember.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, Ghost Rider. Yeah.
Davey wants to know, is the rapture going to happen? Period. Is the rapture going to happen? No. And that was fast. So that was not only no, but hell no. How about that? Wild at Heart, another good Nicolas Cage movie that where people are talking about there. So that's a good one. But yeah, Nicolas Cage. How did we get to Nicolas Cage? Oh yeah, with Thief in the Night. So has anyone in the chat room been a person that believed in the rapture? And has anyone in the chat room been afraid of the rapture at some point in their life? Con Air, that was a great movie. The Rock with Sean Connery, that was a great movie. City of Angels was a good movie.
Yes, I really like that
one
movie.
with Meg Ryan where he was an angel.
And so was Moonstruck.
Moonstruck was a good movie. Tim Alderman says, howdy, we're not dead yet. Yes, Amanda says that she was afraid of the rapture at one time. David randomly says that HARP is causing all these storms. Davey says he sounds like Sean Connery. Davey, we should bring you on and let you sound like Sean Connery.
Face Off was a good movie too.
Face Off was a good movie. I used to do a little Sean Connery impersonation.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, I don't know if I can do it anymore. It's been so long. That was part of my stand-up act. But I do remember when Sean Connery was on Hunt for Red October. You remember that, right?
Yeah, that was a good movie.
And then he said that when Cortez brought his men to the New World, they burned their ships in the harbor. Mm-hmm. And then Sean says, as a result, they were highly motivated. So that's not too bad for being so long. You were saying my what'd you say, my
Morgan Freeman?
I didn't do a Morgan Freeman impersonation.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
I didn't do a Morgan Freeman impersonation at all.
Okay, I believe you.
Now I've given L.A. Marzulli and Scotty Clark a lot of crap, and L.A. Marzulli, I do pretty good Matthew McConaughey too, but L.A. Marzulli was saying that he went on Coast to Coast and he said that he never said that he said the rapture would be on September 23rd. And then Scotty went on and said he's not what, Johnny Ringo, you look like somebody just walked over your grave. He said that he never set a date either. Leak Project. Jeff, I'm finishing up shortly. Nanu. So Rex in the house. So this is what we're talking about, and this is why I'm bringing it up. And this is fair game. I'm just letting you know why I've been so hard on them. The first voice you're going to hear is that of L.A. Marzulli, and then you're going to hear Scotty Clark. And this is why I'm talking about these people. This is why I'm calling them out for this right here. Listen. Marzulli is speaking at this Watchman conference a few days ago. Well, that's me. Marzulli is asking Clark the question. And Marzulli makes a very telling statement at the beginning. So listen.
Number 12 started. Scott, let me just ask you something. And I love the way you kind of talked about the idea that you're not saying the rapture is going to happen on the 23rd.
Haven't been there, don't know,
don't know.
Come back.
But the signs seem to be pointing to that. And once again, folks, for those of you who think that this is,
So did you hear what Marzulli just said? He said, we're not saying that the rapture is going to happen on September 23rd, but all the signs are certainly pointing that way. And as Rex pointed out very adroitly last Sunday in the show, and I kind of maneuvered him, he didn't know that Marzulli had said this. I said, Rex, what if somebody said that the rapture is going to happen on not going to happen on September 23rd, but all the signs are certainly pointing that way. Rex said that's just a standard NLP trick to tell people that something's going to happen without saying it's going to happen, so you can have plausible deniability. So I kind of boxed Rex in. I feel a little bit bad, but not that bad. So you heard Marzulli say, we're not saying that the rapture is going to happen on September 23rd, but all the signs are certainly pointing that way. So the man did say the rapture is going to happen on September 23rd, and he went on Coast to Coast and said he didn't say it, and he ought to at least apologize for saying it, correct himself, and move on. Now here's Scotty, who said he never set a date.
Astrology or something occultic. It's not. It's the Mazarov. It's the signs that God put in.
And this was the conference that Rex was at with these guys, by the way.
Yeah. Where would I start? So we're not saying that the rapture is going to happen. But the fact is that if you look in the text, if you try to say in Revelation 12, 1 and 2, there's a constellation alignment with the planets, the stars, the constellations. And if you try to find that actually in the heavens in an astronomy program of which you can go forward, it seems like it ends up being in the fall of 2017. So then what you want to do is you want to look in the text of the book, because that's really what we're going after. And it just so happens that the word harpazo is right there. The child is caught up to God, to his throne. And the best rendering of who that child is the body of Christ. So let's watch.
Okay, let me get this straight. We're not saying the rapture is going to happen on September 23rd, but the astronomy says it's going to happen on September 23rd, and the scriptures say it's going to happen on September 23rd. But we're not saying it's going to happen on September 23rd. Folks, that's where I come from. They call that lying. So that's what we're talking about, boys and girls. That's why we're holding these guys' feet to the fire, because that's just not right. Tamu, do you have any comment on that?
Well, benefit of the doubt.
Tamu's looking very sultry with her Hello Kitty robe slinking off her shoulders.
September 23rd is not over yet, so there is still hope. Just saying. That's
right. Michelle Royce says, so you did the same question mark. I don't understand what that means. Dave from Scotland says, didn't Meatloaf say 2 out of 3 ain't bad? But they're 0 for 7 now, folks. They're 0 for 7. This is the 7th major rapture prediction in modern times. And on Scotty's YouTube channel, Sarah L. is now saying as well, confirming the earlier report that he did change it to September 24th. Do we know what time on September 24th? But I'm confused because Scotty said he's not a date setter. I just don't understand it. Well, I guess now we got to wait till the 24th. So we'll just make this a 27-hour broadcast. How's that sound? I could do it. If I had a bigger coffee pot, I could definitely do it. That is very funny stuff. Tommy, what are you doing with those rods out again?
I would like to see you break out the rods and, maybe there's a couple of questions we can get in before Rex comes on.
We could get in a couple of questions before Rex comes on. I keep checking and make sure that Sarah L says sweet. Lee Veltman says, but the Gregorian calendar ...
Oh, never mind.
Thanks, Lee. Exactly what we need. September 24th of which year? Yep, there you go. You can get a Doomsday app, which gives you all the upcoming predictions. And bonus, you can make your own Doomsday prediction. Oh, dude, Reneve. That's beautiful. That is classic. I love it. 444. What are you asking me, Recovering Soul? Laugh out loud. Yeah, maybe it's the wrong year. Or maybe it's never going to happen. Matt, Brian, I already asked, but I'll ask it again. Is the rapture going to happen at all? No, it is not.
Now, that's not a fair question or a fair assumption, because you have to realize that there are multi-dimensions, therefore many Earths. So there are many parallel Earths. So somewhere on some Earth, the rapture did take place.
No, I challenge that. On any Earth, in any dimension, in any reality ever, did the rapture ever take place?
Oh, darn it.
It's mine. Jay-Z's new album is 444, says Lee Veltman. Decent album. Thank you for the music review, Lee. I appreciate that. I wouldn't know Jay-Z if he walked into this room right now. That's how bad I am. I literally wouldn't. Oh, and Tommy would like you to know that it was not her that was singing this September 23 song, and she wanted you to know that not all black people look alike. So that's a public service announcement from your friendly Christian whistleblower.
Thank you, Jeff.
What year is it, 2017 or 5778? Happy New Year. There may be a rip in space, but no rapture. Oh, Heidi Vandenberg is in the house too. Let's bring Heidi Vandenberg on. And Heidi, I think I've actually learned how to bring people on. And Heidi raised her hand. That was very polite of her. Okay, so panelists, if I hit panelist, and I go down here to more, and it's going to say allow panelists to start video. I think you're good to go, Heidi. There she is, Heidi Vandenberg, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, Heidi?
I'm good. Hi,
Heidi.
How are you?
Hi.
What'd you say?
I said hi. How are you?
Heidi, I'm a little disappointed. I don't see an ascension robe.
hold on. Let me throw this little thing on.
Oh, beautiful.
I could not, yeah. I've been on the go all day. Sorry. I don't even have any robes. I thought I had a robe, but I don't. I don't have a robe.
Well, no problem. We won't hold that against you.
Sorry.
You have that I sold a house look today.
No, I didn't actually.
Well, tomorrow's your day.
Hopefully tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow will be the day.
Absolutely.
I just had 2 really good readings. They were hysterical. The one was hysterical. Another K2 in the first house.
And what does K2 in the first house mean, Heidi? Tell our guests.
It's an interesting journey, to say the least. An interesting journey. Yeah.
Now, Heidi, last night we were talking with Rex on the same kind of thing, and we looked at the Tom Cruise. Leave It Altman's talking about Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes. But anyway, we were talking about the creation of Tom who's playing with her rods. We're talking about the creation of the Jesuits, and you pulled a quick reading on the creation of the Jesuits, even though it's only 75% because we don't know the date. And do you remember some of those interesting ideas that were pulled up?
Yeah, how he was just more of a dictator, and the dictatorship, the horse thing. You know what, I was thinking about that today, actually, that we should do that on some spiritual leaders, like some profound points when a religion was started or whatever, and just see how the planets were aligned. That would be interesting to do. And I didn't know my software went back that long, but it actually does. So
Chris Justine in the house. Welcome to see you. I didn't meet Tom Cruise yesterday. I met him like a couple of weeks ago. But it was interesting because Heidi didn't know a lot about who Ignatius of Loyola was, because only nerds like me really know. But Ignatius of Loyola was the guy who started the Jesuits. And when he started the Jesuits, we looked that date up on the Vedic software, and it said, Heidi said there was about military was involved, and Loyola was an ex-soldier. He had been wounded in battle before he started the Army of Jesus, is what the Catholics call it, the Pope's Army. And he also was a mounted cavalry soldier. And in that reading, horses were also very prominent, right, Heidi?
Yes.
So tell people about this, because people here are kind of new to this. How does Vedic astrology get these random things right? It just seems crazy.
Well, I don't know. I wish I had that answer, but I would say that I studied. Make a long story short, when I learned astrology, I really struggled with which way is right, Western way or Vedic way. Like because I needed to know, you got an
hour and a half. Can you take us through that a little bit? Your battle between Western and Vedic, or the thought process, if you're comfortable doing so.
Yeah, I'll talk about it. Sure. So basically, when I found astrology.
Can I just say that, have you ever seen 3 people in the same place at the same time with whiter teeth? Check that out. Convention.
The light. Oh gosh, that's funny.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Heidi. Go ahead.
Okay. So to make a really long story short, when I found astrology, I never believed astrology because, I was a Virgo. My birthday is September 12th. I thought I was a Virgo. And I would read Virgo. I'd be like, yeah, maybe a little bit or whatever.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you. And thank you. And so I didn't really believe it. I thought, anybody could match up to this Virgo thing. I do have that analytical side, somewhat, a detective side. So somewhat. And then when I had to learn the whole directions of the door, Vatsu, when I told you I was selling homes, I Googled Indian astrology because I bought the book on Vatsu and learned it. And it starts talking about astrology. And I was really obsessed with, obviously, everybody knows here probably that I was obsessed with what happens when you die. I was always trying to figure out why we're here. And your
obsession with Indian men have anything to do with this?
No, and I'm not always obsessed with Indian men. I just like foreign men sometimes. Yeah. I have no set taste. That's just is what it is. I really don't.
That's good.
Yeah.
So you were studying both, and what made you come down on the side of Vedic?
Well, I didn't even know that you had an ascendant. I didn't know you had you had a moon sign and you had a sun sign. I just thought you were a Virgo, like you're born in September. So to me, yeah, how many Virgos could there be? Lots of them, you know. So I did, when I found this, you had to know your time and, you know, you had to know this and that. I really struggled because I saw my chart Vedic way and I saw it Western way, and they both made sense. So tropically, which is Western astrology, I'm a Sagittarius ascendant, I'm an Aries moon, and I'm a Virgo sun. Okay, I can see the Sagittarius in me for sure. People could say that. I could see, you know, the Aries moon for sure. And I could see the Virgo sun, kind of. But the sun sign's the least of importance in your chart anyway, because it matters where it sits, but it's not like your sign. Your ascendant, if you want to know what's going to happen to you real time in transits, you want to look at your ascendant, because the ascendant changes every 2 hours. So when I found
why is Western astrology so sun sign focused?
It just, I don't know. It is. I didn't get into all the facts get on my nerves. I like go by what I practiced.
Okay.
So what I did was I tested it. You know, I tested it with everybody I met. I'd ask them what time they were born. I would try to figure everything out, and a lot on myself. So when I found Vedic astrology, I found out I was a Scorpio rising, spot on to me. Nobody knew that yeah, I can act like a Sagittarius, but really I wanted to be an investigator. I wanted to be a cop. I wanted to do law enforcement. I went to school for corrections. You wouldn't know that, you know, but that's like my passion is investigation. And then the Pisces moon, I do have a soft side, even though I act a little intense. Yeah, I do have a soft side. Okay. And then I have a Leo sun. That makes more sense than the Virgo sun to me. Like the Virgos are more, you know, healers, but sometimes more healthy. Like I'm more about just, you know, it's not that I'm not healthy, to say the least. It's just Virgos can be into numbers and they can be very analytical about stuff, a perfectionist at work. I'm really not, unless it has to do with something I like. So long story short, I went back and forth and studied these things like crazy. But one thing that didn't change was these nakshatras. I read charts with nakshatras before. Like now everybody's starting to read charts with nakshatras, and a select few people did. But that's how I read charts, because that's the only thing that didn't change, and it was spot on every time. And before, like sometimes in Indian astrology, they say they would only go by your moon nakshatra. And that's important. But I found that when I was doing my own research, the ascendant nakshatra, the Venus, where Venus is placed, so Venus is in Hasta, you know, this is where you can literally take somebody's chart and it is what it is. You don't even really need divisional charts. And then I just saw these patterns and I learned it from all the practice. But the nakshatras and studying them was what really, you know, because you can pinpoint down to the weirdest stuff about some people, you know, it's just amazing. It never fails. Like it never fails. And I don't know what does it and what regulates this and what, you know, how this all comes into play. But I mean, I've read thousands of charts and it's always right. The personality is 100% right. It's like somebody's soul, you know, it's like the soul of the person. Might not be how they act, but the nakshatras are more like their intentions, the soul, how this karma is going to kind of pan out to them.
Right.
Rooted things.
I found it to be much more precise than Western astrology. And Lee Veltman in the chat room, smart guy, says he thinks it's more precise than Western astrology as well.
And I'm not saying I have had Western astrology readings and they've been accurate, you know, but I can tell you that one thing that we both have, Tamu, it's Ketu in the first, right? So that is definitely a different beast, because there's very hard to predict that when you have a node or like an intense conjunction in your chart, your first house, especially the nodes that can be very like unpredictable. The predictions are very hard to give with somebody with, you know, when you have Rahu, Ketu, North Node, South Node in the first and seventh house. It's just, you know, a lot of the predictions that I had from readers never happened. It would be like 100% the opposite thing. And I've learned that when you don't try to play, like I never try to give predictions because it could be 100% something different. There's so many things. It's like, I give people options and tell them like caution.
Lee Veltman had a few issues about last night's show. He's a little hurt over it. I'm not sure what, but he's a little hurt.
Why?
I don't know. He said Rex made him feel bad. I'm not sure what happened. Rex stepped on his toes or something.
Whose toes?
Lee Veltman's.
I have to see the screen.
Yeah. But Heidi, let me ask you a question. Because you and I and Rex were talking about these hurricane things, and Rex was pointing out all the facts of how bad it was going to be. You were pointing out the charts of how bad you thought it was going to be. And I'm over here saying, oh, but the rods say it's not going to hit. Why do you think the rods seem to be right when the facts and the astrology weren't right? And I mean, that's just my view. You can take issue with that if you please.
Hold on. Say that again. Sorry. The rod. So what do you mean?
Remember Rex, we were talking about the hurricane, and Rex was the hurricane's terrible. All the facts say it's going to be the worst one ever. And
Right.
You were saying the chart show it's going to be a really, really bad one. And I'm sitting over here with my silly little intention and my stupid copper rod saying it's not going to hit. What was up with all that?
I don't know. I don't know. So for me, I don't like, this is why personally I don't do tarot that much and stuff, because I feel like if it's going to kind of go, like I've read cards for myself and they're always like what you don't want to hear, or they'll tell you what you want to hear. It's like when you start doing things to yourself, even when I read my own chart, it's like, you can't.
You shouldn't.
You can't do it because it's just, I don't know, but your rods are right about certain things. So I can't say what on here, but the conversation we had after the fact, when we got off after the Elvis conversation, a lot of your rods were accurate with certain things. So I think it's what the rods want you to know. It's like, hey,
it's our Wayne Steiger.
Hello, folks. How are ya?
We're doing great, Wayne. How are you tonight?
It's cold.
Is it cold? That's why you're wearing that sweatshirt.
Yeah, it's like about 41 degrees outside and raining and.
Wayne, I don't know if you want people to know where you are, but you're in the western states at a high elevation.
Yeah, about 6,000 feet.
So that's why it's cold where you are.
It is. I was actually getting my snowblower together. Yes.
Yeah.
Did Tommy send those to you, Heidi?
Yes, she did. She sent me those, and I'm going to show you my pictures that she sent because she.
Tommy was never sent me any crystals, Heidi. I'm just saying.
Wow.
Hold on.
I sent you a card. I sent you one of my photography. But I just want to say, Heidi did a reading for me as well. And she pointed out the years 1997 through to 2015 as having been really difficult years for me. And it took me a while to think about it. And she was absolutely spot on. 1997.
Oh, those are paintings from Tommy Wood. Something else I've never received.
Wow.
I know. Lucky. I know. Aren't they beautiful?
Yeah,
those
that's right. That's right.
Very nice.
They match me today. Maybe I should be putting these.
What are those, Tommy? Heidi, can you hold those up?
Those are seed mantra from Buddhism, and that is Shakyamuni Buddha. The Amida Buddha is the red one, and the blue one is like Kuan Yin. It is the Avalokiteshvara, so that's the masculine and the feminine. The blue one that represents Avalokiteshvara, one who hears the cries of the world. And the red one is Amida Buddha, the Buddha of infinite light and life. And I thought those were appropriate for her because the work that she does with the Vedic astrology, she's helping people to get to know themselves. And, a lot of us, we need that help.
I'm disappointed because I did invite someone that would still identify as a evangelical Christian, and she popped into the chat room and she stayed there for about 10 seconds and said, I'm not into this, I'm out of here. So that kind of bothers me, but all is not lost because we do have our Wayne Steiger, and he used to be almost as bad as me. Wayne, were you ever afraid of the rapture?
Of it happening?
Yes. Were you ever afraid of the whole thing? Tell us about it.
Well, the rapture is a double-edged sword. On one hand, you think that you're being raptured out, right? But I could never figure out, was it post, pre, or mid trib?
So what that means is there's the 7-year tribulation period where all these bad things are supposed to happen. Everything falls from the sky. Everything goes to hell. And some people say that God's going to rapture his people out before any of it happens. Some people say you got to go through 3.5 years of it. And some people say you got to go through the whole damn thing. So that's the whole argument. Is it pre, is it post, is it mid? So if you believe in the rapture, then you got to ask, are you pre, post, or mid? Most of them, 99.9% of them, like Scotty and Marzulli, they're pre. There were a few. It was funny, Wayne. I went from pre to mid to post, and like it's all BS.
Yeah, it's like, all right, I give up. And the thing that I can tell you, I just remember when Hilton Sutton was alive, that, you know, we were supposed to look for the signs, but the signs kept changing. I mean, I never could figure out anyone who could actually interpret the signs.
And remember the signs, what Bill Engvall said, here's your sign.
Here's your sign.
If you're stupid, here's your... Heidi, you were at one time afraid of rapture, second coming, stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, big time. In 2012, I think that was when it was, right? The world was ending then. 2012, because the Mayan calendar was adding up to it.
And then 2011 was Harold Camping as well.
Oh, and you know, so yeah, of course I got all wrapped up into that. I mean, I was ready to go. I sold homes to a lot of, you know, a lot of people that were one family that was a pastor and his wife, and it was just, I was texting them like, oh, what, you know, I was concerned, like I really was, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, and then, you know, like I said last night, I was Googling that, and you know, not going to get on. I listened to us last night. We had a lot of trolls last night. We had a lot of interesting comments. It was, and you know, it's very hard for me to keep my composure sometimes when it comes to, because
you got to stop looking at those comments. Both of you are ready to rip people's throats out.
Because yeah, you want to know why? Because we have Mars and K2 in the first house. Okay, here's what happens. You can't control it. It's like that sits on us, and that's the one thing you can do is say something like that. You know, it's just we can't control it. It's so hard. And I listened to it, and I was like, oh, why did I say that?
Tom Moo's worried about some lady saying something about her in Wayne's channel. I'm like, dude, you got to just let that go.
Well, at least, you know, it's funny because I thought you were so much calmer about it. And because I don't, you know, you just don't know. And because I can't shut my mouth. Like, it's just really hard for me to not say something, because that's the problem, I think, is sometimes and it gets me fired up. But then if I don't address it, I'll like think about it all night. And I'll be thinking about their screen names. I'll be looking them up on Facebook. Like, I'm crazy. Oh, like, I'll find them some way. And, you know, it's just not good. It's not healthy. It's just, so I have to relax. That's one of my things that I need to work on. Absolutely.
What was the thing from Seinfeld? Serenity Now.
Yes.
I didn't watch that one.
Yeah, it was hard. That's hard. But those, you know, that's just, it's tough. But I was there. I would have been doing that. Like, that's the thing is, I understand that because I would have been the same way. Like, I would have said the same thing. And don't get me wrong. Like, I've thought to myself many times, like, oh my gosh, is that blasphemy or whatever? And it's not. In my heart, I know that what I am saying is 100% the right thing for me. You know, like, it's me. It doesn't need to be anybody else. It's me. It's not, nobody else has to believe it. Just respect it. Just like I would respect their thing. I'm all about respect. So, you know.
Yeah. Ransom, I thought Ransom is coming on. I sent him a request, but I don't see him in the panelist room here, but he's certainly welcome to come on. And I get that sometimes too. And Tamu and some other people have said to me, why do you let these people stay? Why do you entertain them? Because I could see me saying those things, you know, when I was first starting to come in. So I like to give them a little chance until they get rude, and then I give them a smack. But Wayne, how did you get out of the fear and guilt matrix of the whole rapture thought? And am I going to miss it? Is it pre? Is it mid? Is it post? How did you stop worrying about Mark of the Beast and head chopping and Antichrist and all this stuff?
I think my point came in when I couldn't figure out where the demons came from. You know, if the rapture was going to take place and then you're going to have this hell on earth, you know, where the creatures were going to be coming up and, you know, it gets very weird. I could never figure out, well, where did the bad guys come from? And
they come out of the sky. That's what I thought, right?
Well,
that's what they made it sound like.
It's very interesting. Like last night, I did a live program because I thought, well, if the end of the world was coming today, let's just really get into it. And I posed this question. Did not the Christian church invent Satan worship?
Oh, here's Ransom. Did they even invent Satan himself, Wayne?
Yes. And that, by the way, I've been busy all day, excuse me, researching this. Do you know I can't find where Satan attacked Israel or any mortal? I can't find where Satan had declared war upon the Hebrews. I can't find any angel worshiping Satan. I can't even find the Watchers worshiping Satan. But yet I get that Satan is actually talking to God in Job 1:6-12. And so
you should be good to go as soon as you turn on your own video and your own sound. You should be good to go. I know you have some issues, and it's funny, Heidi. Last night, Ransom was on with us with Rex, and if he hadn't been on with us, he wouldn't have noticed that some of his stuff was like smoldering, and he would have caused a fire. So it was actually good that he was on with us. Ransom, are you there?
I think so.
You are there. Your picture's not there, but that's okay.
It says I can't start my video because the host stopped me.
Well, I got you on. I got you.
He does that all the time.
Oh, here we go.
Because who stopped you?
It wasn't Tamu, was it?
Look at Heidi laughing at me.
This is fun.
The first time I ever did a live Zoom was with
the
Heidi.
Brady Bunch. Somebody wrote that.
Heidi's walking me through how to do it, and then we get halfway through the program. I thought we were live on YouTube, and we were live on Facebook.
That was great. That was kind of funny, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, I was talking about the rapture last night and the end of the world. If I wouldn't have been in here talking about it, I might have not had a house last night.
Tamu, did you mute yourself?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
yes,
cool. I just want to make sure I didn't do it by accident. Now, Ransom, we were talking about something last night, and Rex is going to be here in a minute, and I wanted to bring this up with Wayne here, and everybody feel free to jump in. And I just noticed that everybody's not drinking vodka because there has been some times when people were drinking vodka on these shows. So, at any rate,
I leave the alcohol alone.
Me too. I just can't do it. Tamu's drinking chlorophyll. She wants us to know. But we got into this talk last night about the gods, who the gods are. And I don't think Rex quite understood me because I didn't make myself clear. I believe in the gods. I believe in the gods and goddesses. I believe in the ultimate inexpressible ones, which I think is God, male and female God. I believe in the real gods. I believe in the true gods. I believe they have things to do. And I don't have any problem with the gods. However, I don't believe that Yahweh is a real God anymore. If he ever was a real God, he doesn't have any juice anymore. And today I started going back and thinking, when was the last time Yahweh ever showed up himself and did any of his own wet work? And you go all the way back and thinking, did he do it in Egypt? Oh, maybe he did all those plagues. Surely he did those plagues. But if you look at it, Moses was a master magician. So was Moses doing the plagues or was Yahweh doing the plagues? And then I thought, oh, well, the Lord obviously must have done the Passover, killed all those babies. Well, then I started thinking, why did they mark the houses with the blood? Because if they had to mark the houses to make sure they didn't kill the right people, doesn't Yahweh know? Isn't he God? Maybe they marked the houses because the people they sent out to kill people
had to mark the bloodline
and not go to those houses and kill people. So did he, even in Sodom and Gomorrah, that was before Egypt, I think the last time I could find Yahweh doing any of his own wet work was Sodom and Gomorrah, killing with his own hands. And that was with the Mhulu. So the only reason he ever got to be looked at as a god is because I think he had the Mhulu, which was a weapon of mass destruction. Once the Elohim dispossessed him of that, he's been faking it all the time. Yahweh's not a god. I don't have any respect for Yahweh. He's over. He's through. He's done. He's a cosmic Charles Manson. He can't even do his own wet work. And we're bringing him down to Chinatown. Wayne, what do you think about that? And Ransom, feel free to chop in and ladies as well.
I think that where we've gotten so off in the Western world was that Moshe was an initiate. He was an initiate into the secret mysteries. And when you begin to study what the mysteries were, this was knowledge that went back way, way back. and you had to be an initiate in order to be exposed to it. Moses was Pharaoh's son. He was a high priest in the religious order of Osiris. And as a point of that, Moses was taught the mysteries. And, you know, there is a contention now in modern history that says that, well, maybe Moses didn't lead 1 million people out. What he was leaving with was these secret knowledges that Egypt had possessed, and took them and invoked Yahweh, brought Yahweh in, caused him to come in. And that's written in the bronze books by the description of what happened when the slaves left.
Absolutely. Now, Ransom, you question if these gods were ever even really gods at all, right?
Yeah, well, the whole, like, from when I was a kid, and I'm being told Bible stories about a jealous God and an angry God, and every time they describe God,
do you?
It's like a human being. So I don't buy that. Why would God be mad at his creations, and why would he be jealous if he knows everything about me, like it down to my soul? I don't have to prove myself. He knows me better than me, right? If he created us all. So
isn't he God?
All of these blood sacrifices and things in the Bible, like, asking somebody to kill their son to prove their faith. God wouldn't need proof. He would know immediately what kind of person you are. I mean, not immediately. He knew before probably you existed.
Well, I always couldn't figure out
or they, or whoever it is.
Exodus 10:6. And it said that Yahweh sought to kill Moses.
Yeah.
Now, wait a minute. If in today you could charge me with premeditated murder if I was to go out and attempt to take the life of who I was going to kill.
Absolutely. Tom and Heidi, give us some feminine perspective on this.
Please. A lot of testosterone of it.
Heidi.
For me, I just can't, I don't focus on any of that stuff. I'm more about like the Buddhist thing, the Hindu thing, the just do the right thing. And, there's, for me, God, there's one, I believe in one God, just one, and he's within it, he's in you, me, everybody. He's in here, he's there. It's kind of my philosophy because I don't have proof. So that's just how I roll with it. So for me, all the stories, they're a bunch of stories. Like I don't believe anything unless I have facts, and who wrote those stories? Did I meet them? No, I haven't met them. So for me, it's just what keeps me at ease because there's so many stories. How wouldn't we know that, a different religion isn't the right way? Like they would say their religion's the right way. X religion, I'm just making that up, but won't say it. How do we know that's not right? Why is it this religion that's right?
Right.
Yeah, that's a question I ask all myself. I mean, you can't have all these religions of the world and all of them be right or all of them be wrong, or one be right and the rest wrong. I mean, that's insanity.
That doesn't make
sense. Breadth of religion.
Where you're left with you.
Exactly.
The left is to go inward.
Yes.
And
yes.
Things that have dawned on me in my life that people have heard, that's like the answers are not really out there. They're in there. So what if you can't even figure out yourself? I don't think you're even near, figuring out other things like that.
Tamu, what are your perspective? You've been through a few different religious paths.
I've been through a lot of religious paths. And all I can say from my experience is that once I've walked out of all of them and I look back, I realized that when I was a little child and I spent my time in nature, and even when I spent my time in my closet, quote unquote, praying, it was only then that I had a closer connection with the absolute. So, I don't even like the term God. I mean, it's just a word that you put a name on and therefore put into a box. And I just think it's so much greater than that. I prefer to call it consciousness, the absolute truth, the absolute reality. I'm not sure if in this life form that we're going to be able to know exactly everything that it is. But I agree with Ransom that we really need to start going within and, start taking that personal responsibility.
Let me remind everyone real quickly why we're here tonight. And just real quickly, it's important to remember why we're here and what's going on.
September 23rd, and the last day on the planet, the last day on the planet, the last day on the planet, is September 23rd.
One more time.
Who is that?
And the last day on the planet, the last day on the planet, the last day on the planet, is September 23rd.
Oh my gosh.
That is multiple Emmy and Grammy Award winner Catrice Barnes. And
yeah. She did look familiar for sure.
She was going to be with us tonight. I don't know if she's going to be able to or not, but she did create that song for us. And she said that she was going to release a polka album tomorrow. But since the Rapture's coming, there won't really be a polka album. It's just a little joke.
Well, you guys are two Christian guys, so I wanted to get you guys' opinions on this.
X Christian for me.
I meant like as far as like a person's good at mechanics. I know about cars. I'm not saying you're in love with the car, but I was talking to Jordan Maxwell. He was telling me that it really irritates him when people use the word God in the first place, because God is a translation from a Latin word, Dios, which is directly translated as Zeus. It's
talk to Jordan Maxwell. I've tried, so congratulations for being able to talk to Jordan.
I don't even know why he answered me. I boggled my mind. I sent him an email. He said sure, and then he came on and.
I couldn't find a way to send him an email. Let me know how you did that. I would appreciate it. Send it over to me.
I could do that. Yeah. Well, it's on his the Jordan Maxwell show, and I just went through that email they gave there.
Okay, I didn't find the email. That's just been my problem. Wayne, that's something that's always been in the back of my mind. Why is Zeus and Jesus so close?
Well, this will probably blow the chat room out. Listen, Christianity has its root in paganism. In fact, if you take the Gnostics, who were the original believers of Christianity, it was the literalists who took over. So if you study it, you know that the roots are basically, even the whole myth about the Son of God is a story that was told back in Egyptian times.
Yeah. The whole thing, the Passover,
everything.
Celestial.
Yeah, the baptism, the everything that you want to look at. And so to me, this is like one big coitus deal. You
guys are in astrology. Do you ever guys come across and notice that like Abraham's kind of like he's Taurus, right? He lived in the time of Taurus, correct? Because no, Abraham.
Do you have
well, it kind of seems like it's going in these 2,000-year things. Like Jesus is two fish. Before him, Moses, they represent him a lot as a ram. And then before him, Moses is mad that they started worshiping a calf, which is it's a bull. Mm-hmm. So they're down there worshiping the last reign of things, and he's upset. So it all sounds like a zodiac story to me, down to the last. There's 12s and 12s and 12s. There's Jesus feeds everybody with two fish. He's represented as two fish. He says, beware of the water bearer, which I believe is Aquarius, is it not?
I think that's called astrotheology is where you're going.
Yes, it is.
Yep. Yeah, well, I'm just saying from things I picked up, it sounded to me like I'm reading a zodiac book. Like it's all
a corollary in Indian thought, Heidi, to astrotheology.
I don't even know the definition of that. Like I know I'm just being honest.
Definition of astrotheology.
I know I have my theology of it. And I don't even use the signs. I look at the whole, once again, these nakshatras, these 27 nakshatras that are broken up in the signs. So for instance, in Aries, there's a Swani, which is so many degrees of Aries. Then there's Kritika, that's the next part of Aries. And then there's Rohini, that's in, so there's these like nakshatras that are broken up into these signs that split between two signs too sometimes. So it's more for me, I can't even go by the zodiac signs anymore. It's too, mine's about practice, patterns, and mine's more like patterns from what I see that plays out in people's charts. So I heard a comment, somebody asked a comment on here and said they had a horrible reading. Just so I want to bring this up real quick.
Okay,
horrible please. Reading, and they never did an astrology reading ever again. Let me just say, my first Vedic astrology reading was absolutely treacherous. I was crying. I was told I was going to die in a bar fight. I'm still here. Okay. I was also told like the worst things, but then it was so accurate that I was like, not the bad, like some of the bad things that were bad, but you know, it was stuff that I had to face, you know, and like we sit here and talk about going within in yourself. A lot of it is just accepting that your life is the way it is. And the stuff that you've dealt with is because the only way I could explain it is because we picked it. Like, that's how I can live with it, is that we chose this, you know, we kind of signed up for this rodeo. So for me, I could accept that. And the only reason I could accept that was because I could see it in the charts. So once I had an answer why, that's all I needed. And I'll tell you what that astrology reading did. It made me learn astrology. Like that's what it did. Because I was like, I'm not going to die. I'm buying the software. I got 1 million readings. I spent thousands of dollars on readings from every astrologer. No, but not one astrologer said that I would be doing astrology. It's kind of funny. Not one.
Wayne, talk to us about astrotheology.
Well, I think it has its basis going back to, if you look at what they've discovered just in Turkey at Göbekli Tepe, that the fact now that we now know that there was a civilization here that dated before 12,800. And what we do know is that these people passed on to us the knowledge of the stars. And that, listen, it's replete throughout the Old Testament. The Hebrews looked at the stars all the time. They used it as a guide. So why do we consider it to be so foreign to us that it's something so bad? I think, again, it was designed to keep us away from the tools that were given to us by whoever it was, whether it was the infinite being, whether it was another species that came through, whatever. And I happen to think it has good foundation to it. Listen, Heidi, when you and I had that reading, I mean, it just blew me away. I went, who is this woman? But it was so spot on. How was that happen? How did that happen?
Yeah, and I didn't know I didn't know your birthday and your, you know.
No.
You know, I didn't know any of that stuff. Like, and I know it's crazy. And I like doing readings on live because it really like tests me, and it just proves to me once again, unless somebody gives me the wrong time, like I can at least pull like some facts. You know, a reading that I do behind the scenes, obviously it's way more intense. It's, you know, I go into certain topics and stuff. I have to analyze things because all it is a bunch of numbers and a bunch of planets and interpreting a bunch of different things together. It's not, you know, it's all numerical. It's all, it's interpretation. So
what happened on the 23rd here wasn't, I did not get involved in this, you know, when this whole hype began to really snowball. But wasn't it everyone was saying that the signs were in the heavens and that the stars were absolutely going to make this the case? So what happened? Well, I think it's like, you know, if you're studying a new language, someone got the misinterpretation.
Well, the alignment was never what they said it was, Wayne.
No, but that may be the first problem right there. Absolutely, Jeff.
Yeah,
like
let me just
a bad birth time.
Let me just speak to that a second. And I have a question for Ransom too. You know, they talk about the September, you know, Scotty has said it, Mr. Marzulli has said it, and Mr. Clark has said that it's a once in a 7,000 year occurrence. And the fact of the matter is that, you know, the woman clothed with the sun, she's clothed with the sun every single September. They say the moon's under her feet. If you actually look at the stars, the moon isn't even really under her feet. It's off to the side of her feet. They talk about she's crowned with 12 stars. Well, she's actually crowned with about 1,200 or 12,000 stars. That's how many stars there are in that particular constellation. And these guys bring in 3 extra planets so they can see 12 stars. And the fact of the matter is, even if you were to accept all that, this exact same alignment has happened at least 6 times in the last 1,000 years. So the astronomy was bogus and bad from the beginning. And I believe the textual interpretation was bogus and bad from the beginning too. Now, Ransom, we've said that I don't think that we need Yahweh to make us be good to each other, to make us be good people. Do you think we even need a government for us to be good people?
Well, government is supposed to be people in the first place. So that would be the people themselves deciding when people are acting up in society and either shun them or get rid of them or, defend yourself against them if they're being violent. So in my opinion, like, cause I'm kind of a more libertarian person. I'm into individual freedom, and that goes along with my spirituality too. It's like, I was always bothered by the whole thing that I need an intermediate or a church or a guy named father when I'm not supposed to be calling him father. And he is not my biological father. He's not my spiritual father. He's just some guy wearing a robe, and no offense. But yeah, I never thought we needed that. So, if you're at home and you're praying to whatever, higher power, it's between you and them. I don't think you need anyone else.
Are you an advocate for anarchy?
No, not anarchy per se, but I do believe that the power resides in the individual.
I absolutely do.
Lawlessness, no. If you're talking about lawlessness, no, I don't believe in that.
And the reason that Tamu and I are wearing robes is because for the first rapture, the first modern rapture prediction, which was in 1844 with William Miller and the Millerites, when they went out to wait for the rapture, they had their ascension robes on. Yeah. So this is my answer, and I conned Tamu into putting one on. So this is our answer to the ascension robe. So that's the answer to that question.
I'm a little confused
Rex
about
is in the
Rex
house.
is in the house.
Yes, Rex is in the house.
What are you confused about, Ransom?
Is this Sophia character like all of the other goddesses? Like, I could share screen with you guys and show you and go through the German goddess, the Chinese goddess, Hathor, Diana. I mean, you can go on, and they all have the same symbol. Even the Madonna. A lot of Madonna statues have the moon under her feet, and some of them even have the serpent. So, like, I got a whole folder of just pictures I took out of different, and it's on the tarot card.
Yes, please.
I believe when I was watching you, and you guys were talking about the solar eclipse. You said you were talking about that little shape with the ball in it and the two things. That's on all of them right there.
Yep. Yeah. That's what Wayne, I brought this up because remember the eclipse thing that we talked about? The picture.
Yes, I do. Yes.
And I never really paid attention to the details on the cards until recently. And then one day I pulled it with this, and it was during the eclipse when I pulled this, and it's that exact same thing. The
flowing dress of water, like Aquarius.
Yep. Yeah, but what is this card? What is this representing? What sign is it? Do they say?
First of all, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome in to our gathering the man, the myth, the legend, the man who laughs at swamp gas from Uranus. It is one and only Rex Bear from League Project.
What is up? Hey, everybody. Thanks a lot for inviting me. It's good to be here. I'm excited. I've even got my tarot cards out. I busted out the HR Geiger deck because I saw all of you. Got the radiation detector with me, so if they get out of hand, I'll even bring out the Ouija board and spirit box. Why not? We made it through the rapture. What's up?
Well, not yet, Rex. There's still about an hour and 50 minutes.
Oh, we still have time? Dang it. I thought we passed it.
Well, this is the last chance for the rapture, last day on the planet. And since Rex is brand new, let's just let Rex understand why we're here. Let me just remind Rex why we're here real quickly. And I love this anyway. So here you go, Rex. This is why we're here.
It's September 23rd and the last day on the planet. The last day on the planet. The last day on the planet. September 23rd.
And that is multi-Grammy award winning and Emmy award winning recording artist Catrice Barnes, who did that for us. She may drop by later. So it's September 23rd, last day on the planet, last chance for the Rapture Extravaganza, Rex, and you're part of it.
I'm really excited. So what are we pulling tarot cards on? Because I've got my deck in my hands to tell me what the purpose is, and I will pull a card. I haven't done it,
Rex, but I wanted to address something that we talked about last night. And you were kind of worried about me calling out gods and stuff. And I just want to let you know, I'm not against all the gods. I believe in God. I believe in the supreme being, but I just don't believe Yahweh really is a god anymore. If he ever was a god, he's just a faker. He's a pretender. And I'm calling him out because when was the last time he showed up and never did anything? So he's not a real god. It's time we're the gods of this world, not him. It's time for us to take over. What do you think about that, Rex Bear?
I think that's pretty powerful statement, quite bold, and I know that it's also very controversial, and I respect your position on that. And as I've often said before, reading through the Old Testament and reading about the God of the Old Testament and the sacrifices that he required and what he demanded and the enjoyment of the smell of certain flesh being burnt and such, I feel that there's a lot more to the story than what we're being told. And I also think, especially after reading through Mauro Bellino's book, the book that will ever change the way you think about the Bible, he was a direct translator for the Vatican for many years, and he took the actual Hebrew texts and translated them. And according to him, the Elohim, the Elohim are actually flesh and blood like us, but they came here from another planet and they manipulated the genomes of human beings. And according to these Hebrew scriptures, that's the case. So he says gods die. He says gods are flesh and bone, just like we are. So with that being said, I'm still leery to call out Yahweh, knowing the influence he has on human beings still to this day. So he may not come get you, but maybe somebody that follows him might look at what you're saying and feel that they are doing him service by coming after you. So, and I respect people's positions on if they want to believe in that God, hey, you believe in that God. That's awesome. That's your thing. But if you're going to come after me and my family and my values and my morals and say that I have to worship your God, well, then Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah. But Rex, do you know of a time where Yahweh actually did his own wet work, where he actually showed up and did anything? Or is he always like Charlie Manson, getting everybody else to do his killing for him?
Hey, I think that he was here on this planet at a specific time. I think that he's probably here right now in possibly a different form. I do feel that these demigods can live thousands and thousands and thousands of years. I believe that they have the power to shapeshift. I mean, let's look at some of these old Sumerian tablets that talked about how Enlil would, and this is just a thought. I can't prove. This is a theory, man. I'm a conspiracy theorist in grandma's garage. I have done enough research to say that I think there's definitely a possibility. I've seen things, Jeff, that would blow your mind, dude. I'm sure you have as well.
I'm guessing it's too hot in grandma's garage for your ascension robe. That's why you're disrobed.
I don't have a robe. I don't. I was like, I did wear a white shirt though. This is I
appreciate that.
This is a bounty hunter with a surfboard from Star Wars. I mean, that's awesome. That's almost as cool as a robe from the Ritz-Carlton, especially if you didn't pay for it. I'm just joking. But with that being said, I think that there are demigods, man. I really do. So I'm kind of leery to call them out. But hey, maybe you doing such a thing will prove to people like myself that you don't have to worry about it. But you know what? I'm still kind of on the sideburn on it. Or what are we pulling cards on? What are we doing?
Wayne, did you ever find out if there's a way to do this live on your own channel, why it's on another channel? Heidi was asking that, and I don't know the answer to that.
It won't let you take two channels live, so you have to have another screen recording and record that on top of the live broadcast.
I see.
That's how that
Rex, what do you want to pull cards on? Let's I think Tamu's got one loaded up.
Talk about this,
let's go to Alice in the top left corner.
Okay. I've been trying to get your attention because I would like to see, since this is September 23rd and in honor of the woman with the moon beneath her feet, I would like to see some of Ransom's lovely pictures depicting the origin of the high priestess. Yes,
I have that.
If you're okay with that, Brother Jeff.
I didn't even know Ransom had pictures. I'm all for it.
Yeah, so he wants to do a, what do you call it, shared screen?
Yeah, I can share the screen and just show you all of these random pictures from different cultures here.
Show them to us, Ransom. Hit us.
So if it'll work here.
Just make sure you show us the right pictures.
Well, I don't think I have any bad pictures, so I don't worry about that.
While Ransom's bringing this up, it always interests me is why do we focus in on this little nation called Israel?
Let me set it up, then I'll have it ready.
Okay, no problem.
Because
it was really just a tribe, you said, Wayne, and that's
all it was. And we take it that this is the gospel where the origins of mankind and religion came from. No, I say let's go to India. They have something that's far richer than that. Let's go to China. Why don't we go to the Aborigines?
How about they have some nice secret knowledge too here? Somebody just sent me my numbers, like with Chinese astrology and stuff. That was just spot on too. So that's it's really just there's a lot of different tools, I believe. The more you use, the more you know. That's how I look at it. I look at Western astrology, Vedic astrology. I like tarot. I'm playing with them now just to see what happens with them. I don't say use my advice on them, but I look at them.
Did Jenny want to punch you in the nose when you started using tarot cards?
No, not at all. Because no. I don't think so, at least. Maybe she did. Who knows?
You guys see that?
Yes, we see it.
Okay. I don't know how to move this out of the way, but so this is supposed to be Aquarius on this one, I believe is what they were saying. It's the sacred feminine. Here's Hecate. And I want you to notice the two torches. And she usually has a serpent and either a sword or, I wish I could move this thing out of the way. Let's
almost like pillars.
Yeah, that stupid Zoom thing is in the way, but.
Yeah, I don't know how to move that either.
Actually, you can do it in the disable and the more side. You can hit it.
I moved it on mine. I don't know if it moved on you guys's.
Because I don't see it.
Like a window.
So are all these a zodiac sign? Like everyone is a zodiac sign?
Okay, well, here's Hathor, and there's that thing on your tarot card right here.
Yeah, the same thing the high priestess has on her head.
And she also has a serpent. Okay. And let's see if we can see the bottom. A lot of time they're on a platform. Okay, here's the Greek Hecate again. And again, you see the same iconography, the key, right? The torches, the weapons.
The serpent.
And like when we get to, here's the Madonna. If you see it down there by her feet, I don't know if this is the one because I can't see through it. There's another one that has, there's the World Trade Center. Here it is. You see the moon under her feet?
Oh, it's just like exactly like the tarot card.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. And then not only that, and keep in mind, she's number 9. She's the female, right? So having a birth or a baby in her is always with these or associated with it. That's from something else.
Yeah, she kind of looked like Gillian Anderson to me.
Yeah, and here's the Statue of Liberty. She also has the torch, but if you know about the Statue of Liberty, right behind her feet is a broken shackle in the shape of a crescent moon.
That's right.
These are from something else. I just kind of mixed them in here. But okay, so here, this is supposed to be some Roman-esque stuff. I don't really know exactly who she's supposed to be, but it's all the same iconography. She's standing on the world. She's standing on the moon.
And look at the 12 stars over her head.
She's standing on the dragon as well, the serpent.
And they all have a flowing dress, like Aquarius. Like the
Ransom, can you blow that up? What is the serpent gun in its mouth?
Let's see here. An apple.
Like an apple.
And this is my theory, and this goes back to Sumer. Like all of the stuff is related. So I believe that this represents man.
Look at that.
The serpent, the intertwined DNA strand, and look right here, he's eating the apple, the tree of knowledge and truth, good and evil. That's just my opinion, but that's what I think. The serpent represents man, and the female deity is always standing on man and standing on the moon and standing on the world. Like
I got another interpretation for you, Ransom.
Yeah.
The serpent is carrying knowledge, both good and bad.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, he's carrying the tree fruit. And so here's, this is supposed to be the Virgin Mary, of course, but look what she's standing on again. There is like a serpent and a moon in there. I mean, I don't know if you can see the serpent that good, but I think that's what this, or a man with wings here, the enlightened man, maybe, I don't know. And then, of course, that's the mother of Jesus that was the baby, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and this is just supposed to be some new age version of Hecate, but if you see again, she's pouring out the water with the stars in it. She's standing on the bull, but if you look at the bull's horns, it's a crescent moon.
And even that thing behind her kind of looks like it's a crescent moon too, going opposite ways.
Oh, and then the other thing is real common. There are these spikes on the crown, which I think are like sun rays or something, but that's on a lot of them too. But they're always standing on serpents.
Interesting. Rex, what do you think about that?
I mean, about that specific picture or about the serpent and the knowledge
showing us?
Well, I think it's fascinating. One thing about the serpents is I've seen them through thousands of years worth of sculptures and images and paintings and petroglyphs, hieroglyphics, etc. And, you know, I just want to kind of add one thing too about one of the reasons I do feel there could be demigods. I mean, not only is it talked about in Western culture.
Rex, can you define a demigod?
Yes. Let's go to the demigod as being a being that looks human, but has the abilities of what maybe many mutants that you would see on X-Men have to an extent. For example, you know, you read through the Gnostic text, they talk about the Archons. I feel the Archons in the Gnostic text are the Anunnaki. Now, people say Anunnaki is a psyop. Okay, sure. Well, if it's a psyop, it's a 6,000-year-old psyop because you can read 6,000-year-old tablets that not only people from Oxford have translated, but others, not just Zechariah Sitchin. There's been thousands of scholars that have translated these that talk about the Anunnaki. Now, the question is, where do they come from? Now, that doesn't mean that I believe Zechariah Sitchin. That doesn't mean that I believe the 12th planet. I think there's some very interesting stuff in that book, but I don't agree with everything. But I also can't discredit everything that is talked about the Anunnaki. I also can't discredit the Hindu philosophies of the demigods. This isn't just Western philosophy. This isn't just Oxford. This isn't just, I mean, we're talking India, okay, which if you want to get into the Vedas go way back. You can read about people that had blue skin. You can read about monkey people fighting wars and stuff. You can go back to the Hermes Trismegistus stuff before Moses, such as the divine Pymander of Hermes Mercurius Trismegistus that discusses some incredible analogies predating the flooding. So I don't necessarily say that I have all the answers, but putting this information together from the Eastern philosophy, Western philosophy, Gnostic text, Abrahamic text, etc., I think that there could be some type of demigods that have some crazy abilities. Can I confirm that? No. Have they ever came to me and like transformed and like picked up my car and thrown it at somebody, said, look what I can do? No, that hasn't happened yet. But I mean, I don't necessarily discredit it because look at quantum physics, for example. Look at the stuff we can actually do as human beings. We have some incredible abilities, and I feel that we are being suppressed. I feel in a sense we can be godlike. That doesn't mean that I think that I could go take on somebody that would have the position of a demigod. I mean, for example, let me just throw in another quick example here. I've read through the 72 Lesser Keys of Solomon. I used to have a copy from 1913. I bought it off of eBay. That was a bad freaking idea. Okay. As soon as I got it at my house, I could tell that it was bad. I mean, just the energy, like I'm feeling negative energy just thinking about it. The people that lived with me at the time felt the energy. They didn't even know I had the book. And something came out of that, dude. And that was a book that was Sidzils. I wasn't even busting into demigod status. I was looking at and researching lower, darker entities for research. And the stuff was manifesting, dude. Thoughts that were going through my mind. I only had the book for a couple months. I had to get it out of my house because it was just so negative. The thoughts that were going through my head were bad. It was not good. And that was you know, and here's something else that was interesting. I opened that book up and it had this watermark on the first page of the book that looked like a demon. And it had the horns and everything, just the outline of a demon. So yeah, it's a watermark. I get it. But dude, when you're calling out these ancient deities, somebody said, Rex, you're scared of Yahweh's mercenaries. I'm not scared of Yahweh's mercenaries. I'm using my brain.
You're smarter than I am.
I'm not smarter than you. I just am a little bit more reserved on, like, I'm trying to figure out, because I have called out the Old Testament. I have been attacked and ridiculed for my beliefs on not believing that the Old Testament God is the divine providence. People have attacked me left and right. People told me I'm the Antichrist. I'm going to go to hell. You know, you name it. And it's amazing how people that are supposed to be forgiving and loving and caring are like, oh, you don't believe in my beliefs, so you're burning in hell. You're a Jesuit puppet. You know what? People were calling you and I Jesuit puppets yesterday on the channel. I mean, really? Yeah, I'm a Jesuit puppet out of my garage. Okay, they pay me that good.
Remember, God is love.
You're a Jesuit puppet.
Gosh.
I mean, I guess. I mean, according to this guy, I got trained by the reptilian shapeshifters underneath the Vatican, and I'm a part of. You know, I'm able to just transfer my consciousness into a artificial intelligence program and then communicate it with the world. And I've been called a drone and a cyborg and every alphabet agency in the world because I talk about conspiracies out of my garage. I mean, no wonder this world is so freaking messed up because it's controlled by zombies that are controlled by very smart people.
Well, you made a good point, Rex, that you always talk about technology. You're not slow on what things can go together because you're always pointing out, look, this new thing that they've invented can go along with this other thing, But who's to say that these demigods just didn't have technology, point blank, and that was their only advance over us in the first place? Like
Heidi's
they
up
didn't
next.
throw a car at you because they were wearing an exoskeleton, or like the little fish suits and the bird helmets they say they wore, and all of this technological sounding stuff. But think about the story of Gilgamesh from Plato, and then also now in the Sumerian tablets when they found him, it's pretty much the same story. He is mad because he's got the stature, he's got the strength, but he doesn't have the lifespan. And he's on a quest to find the tree to make him live longer like the rest of them. And he's supposed to be what, like three quarters, whatever it is. And but he's still considered a demigod because he has the mortal lifespan.
Heidi, what do you have?
Well, I was going to show you because I think it's interesting. I do believe in demigods, I guess you could say. I do believe in dark entities, or I do believe in all, for sure. I mean, I think anybody can tap into them. Sometimes I actually think they're humans that they don't even know they are sometimes. It's almost people without a conscience, like that.
Interesting point.
That it's people that do, and maybe we've translated into something where it's, something else. That's my practical way of looking at it. But let me show you the pictures of the 27 nakshatras, because it's funny, no matter no matter which, hold on.
And why Heidi's pulling that up, we have with us tonight Tamu and Gina from the Tamu and Gina channel. We have R. Wayne Steiger from the R. Wayne Steiger channel. We have Heidi Vandenberg from channel 27. We have Ransom. Tell me what your channel is, Ransom.
I don't know yet, I guess. I just make stuff on the internet. So you can.
And we have Rex Bear from the Leak Project.
Hey, do you guys see my screen? Which screen?
We do. We do.
Okay, hold on. Which one?
It's got 27 cards on it.
Okay, good. See, look at these pictures, for God's sakes. This is the 27 nakshatras.
We just look at it.
Just look at it.
Look at this. It's like the same thing. It's the serpent. And this is, you know what? So this nakshatra was the one with the horses, the one I talked about last night, Ashwani, the first nakshatra. Every single one of them has a serpent and has some sort of correlation. This is Aslesha, the snake, the medicine. They're all here. It's the same picture, different things. So obviously,
it's almost as if everything came from the same source.
Yes, that's where I was getting at.
Yeah. So in a way, but I think it's how we translate it and how we, maybe look at it differently. This back then might be just a powerful man. It could be.
Look at number 2, Heidi. She's got the little things in her hands, and she's wearing the moon on her head.
Well, so this one. So speaking of that, that's the god of death. And when somebody has that in their chart, they understand death and they can tap into death. And actually, they can even be like a nurse, an OBGYN. So it's like you have to take it like this, because this person can handle certain things and bears people's problems. That's why she has all this darkness. So that's how we interpret them in the nakshatras.
That's trippy.
What do you take from that, Heidi?
Well, I don't know. It's
look at this guy over here too. You even got a hanged man over here.
Let's see who. It's funny. So then the third one. Hold on. The fourth, and then you said something about the cows, right? Or the one, that one. This is the one, the woman on the cow. The fourth one. That's that's Rohini. That's all about luxury and nice things and pleasure. That's the favorite wives of the moon, the favorite wife of the moon. And because these it's hard to explain this story, but there's so many different gods and goddess stories in the Hindu religion. That's why that's why I like it, because it's so creative. It's fun. It's interesting. Like, it's creative. It's, there's stories within stories. And yes, some of them are bad and some of them are good, but they've all translated into something. Now you can take it and turn it into this time. That's how I look at it. Just like maybe these messages that we're reading into so much, maybe it was just, we're supposed to translate it into something different. Because there wasn't technology, or maybe there was, and then got too advanced. So then, reset button. That's how I look at it.
Got in their vimanas and flew away.
Yeah.
Wayne, how does this figure in your whole idea of trying to synthesize all of the religions and theologies?
Well, I was just thinking, we don't pay attention to the theory that I've been reading Graham Hancock's book, The Magicians of the Gods. And again, there's good evidence that there's a third race that is actually living under the earth or in the earth, and they are considered to be the master race. And they're the ones that are our keepers. They're the ones who every cataclysm have come back and reseeded.
The zookeepers.
You know, so I've been looking into that more and more, because if the evidence is now showing what the archaeological record is showing, what we've discovered in the last 7 years alone is rewriting history. All the history is going to have to be rewritten. Everything about what we think about our culture, where man started and began with. Now I think the question is through these cataclysms that have hit, and we know that there's at least 5 that have been documented, why is it that man continues to come back? Who is the one that's reseeding us, and who's the one who is helping us each time the clock is reset?
Interesting. Tamu, give us some thoughts. You've been quiet for a long time.
The thought that just came into my mind was Cylons. I'm sorry.
Where's Rex now? Like,
I think the Jesuits came and got him.
Must not compute data overlord shapeshifter.
Hey, but have you ever wondered if like we're actually the Cylons?
yes. Hey. Isn't that kind of what the stories say? We were created in someone else's image.
Well,
I
the
mean,
Cathars
So we're talking the new Battlestar Galactica, not the old one, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
excellent series. Every episode was beautiful.
Yeah.
So the Cathars believe that we are angels, that we are trapped here by this evil countenance, that as the cosmic clock runs down, the souls that it has collected, the divine sparks of each one of the angels that we are, the ones that don't make it, that's how they're going to negotiate their escape, by leveraging the souls that they have accumulated over the millennia. And of course, the Cathars were so hated by the Vatican, they were actually branded as the first church of Satan. Wow. When they were destroyed in 1312, when Prince Louis, at the request of the Vatican, sent the Vatican soldiers in, and that's where the massacre took place of the Cathars.
And I am now the current Church of Satan, just so you know.
You know, we should do a reading on. We should do like a reading on what happens, like when, like all of us pull cards, pull all this stuff, and just see the overall scenario.
Be careful with that pulling wands thing, Heidi. I think
let's do that. Let's do it.
That would be fun. Like let's see. Let's try to solve this with this.
What do we want to do, Heidi?
What?
What do we want to do?
We want to solve this. Let's ask it some questions, see what it says.
Okay, you start.
I want to know about, is there a race that's greater than us?
Okay. That's a perfect starter question.
What's your definition of greater?
I would say of a higher consciousness, that they have ascended to where they can actually manipulate the ether.
Is there a race that is higher than humanity? Yeah. They have ascended and can manipulate the ether. Okay, let's see. Maybe Jeff should do this.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
We can't see what it's doing.
It's okay. All right, let's try this again. Is there a race that is greater than humanity that has ascended and can manipulate the ether?
Oh, of course it would do that.
Of course. Look at that.
Let me ask mine. Is there a race that's greater than humanity that can manipulate the ether? Well, they're yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hesitant. It's a deep, deep story. Maybe we're that race, and we're just becoming that race. We have to take the next step.
Rex, pull a card.
Pull a card, Rex. Pierre.
Pull a card, Rex.
What deck are you using, Rex? I think you're on mute.
This is the H.R. Geiger deck. H.R. Geiger. Cool. So it's a little bit different than most tarot decks. This is, I think, 23 cards, which is my number. Here is the card, ladies and gentlemen. This is the card.
What does it say?
The star.
Oh, I just pulled the star card. Bingo, ladies and gentlemen. What was the question that you just asked?
Is there a race that is greater than us that has ascended and can manipulate the ether?
And what do we just pull? The star card. Bingo, the star, a higher consciousness. As I've brought up before, what if we get to that level and not only can we control everything around the star, but everything within the star, and then even at the planetary level. And then imagine being able to control the planet and everything within the planet, because as you say, maybe as above, so below. The further out you go into the universe and the galaxies, the further into yourself you actually go.
So it's us.
Boom!
I think I actually met an Archon, though. I think that's what those people that do have sleep paralysis and the little shadow people that go over them, what are they doing there while you're asleep? You know, like people go back to, they talk about the witches and Satan back in the day used to be the thing that scared them in sleep paralysis, but now it's like people are saying it's aliens. So it's like fits to people's time. I had an experience one time where I woke up and saw something after being awake. And this time I didn't have paralysis. I fought it and it seemed scared of me. And then it just dissolved into nothing. So I don't know if I had a delusion because I still half asleep, but it really seemed like I caught something. And for once I wasn't in a paralysis fear state. I was in a fight or flight. And the more I tried to get at it, the more it went away from me and just kind of disappeared. And that was that. And I've never had the sleep paralysis problem again ever since then.
Because you won, you ran him off. Rex, are you saying with that star card that it is us? We're going to be the higher race?
Let me read to you what the official meaning is of the star card.
But is that what you were saying? Is that what I heard you say?
Okay, what my interpretation of was, when I pulled that card, that when you asked, is there a higher level of consciousness than ourselves, something greater than ourselves? Yes, I feel that the star consciousness is one of the higher levels of consciousness, and I feel that we could reach that. And I feel that maybe we're already there as our oversoul. This is a fragment of our soul. We are just experiencing a very small part of our consciousness, which means, yeah, we can be demigods as well. But in this current state of form, in order to take on a higher level of whatever matter or manipulative matter there is, that's where I stay. Okay, I'm just going to choose my battles a little bit more cautiously than Mr. Christian Whistleblower. And hey, man, I mean, that's you're doing what you're doing, bro. And it's cool, I'm just saying, may the force be with you, Jeff. But let me read this to you real quick.
Right on.
The star card, self-expression. I imagine it is the principle is the illumination, repressed, Pandora's box, or self-longing, addiction, compensated, the mysterious unity of the soul with God.
Yeah.
Archetypes, Star of Isis, her 7 priestesses of the oracle, the 7 sages of Arabia. So now we're getting into the number 7, which is a very holy number.
I'm a 7.
You're a 7?
Yeah. 27. The danger Saturn orbit.
77.
And we're Scorpio ascendants. It makes sense. Yeah.
Wow, that's a powerful card. That was a really cool pull on that. Like, this is probably the 5th. This is the 5th or 6th time I've ever pulled a tarot card. I keep these things put away under lock and key. Well, not lock and key, but I keep them put away. And that was a really cool pull. That was exciting.
Right on. So Heidi, what did
pull
you
a card?
All right, what are we asking it though? Because I know you have to have intentions. I'm trying
What's
to get
the question this time?
So what are we asking it?
Are we asking the same question or a different question?
Is it kind of the same?
Are Archons us from a different time? Like you guys were kind of insinuating that, we're at different levels and maybe we come across our own darkness once in a while.
Right.
Like other entities us.
Yeah,
like
this is what I believe, though. I'm going to say this because I can see, in a way, like, and if we talk about stars going up to whatever, sometimes I feel like I dropped off certain planets. I mean, there are many times where I've had weird visions, and I don't really go there this much. Like, I don't tell people this stuff because it's a little woo-woo, right? But I'm telling you, I have had some crazy experiences, and I know that I'm sure I've done some interesting things in a past life, and I'm not going to say they're all great. I mean, I can be the first to admit it because I know how I can feel it in me that where certain things can turn one way or the highway. And it's like, what decision do you want to make, Heidi? What do you want to do here? And the things that I think personally, I have K2 in the first house. When you have the nodes heavily influenced in your chart, same with Tamu. I mean, this is something I think you and I probably really have dealt with our entire life. We can see the other side. Like if we want to tap into the bad, we can do it. All day long. That's the one that comes right to us. Like, that's the truth. And I've blocked it out. So I know you can. And I know you can block it out. And it's so crazy that we can sit here and say this, but I feel like this is like a, you know, I think this is one of, well, I know it's it is my last life. And, you know, it's my liberation. So I think that's why I'm not too worried about it. But I do.
Let me ask you a question before, and you, I don't know if you remember much of my chart, but you're talking about feeling bad about your past. Let me make you put your mind at ease. I'm convinced that I used to be a person in the astral that was running a soul farm and that held millions of people captive in the past life. I don't know how much you remember my chart, but do you see the possibility of my chart?
I definitely could see the possibility of that. And I can do that with the nakshatras, like see kind of what, like mine was more war. I think I was more in battles and more in fights and wars.
So you were like Wonder
Woman, or, you know, one of the people, Jasta, the long middle fingers, shooting arrows. Like I probably killed too many people, you know. I don't know. Like that's what I think. I was in a lot of wars, and I was probably one of the dictators and one of the bad guys. I do believe.
I had one of my subscribers write me yesterday and said that he fell into a trance listening to one of my videos, and he said when he looked up to the screen, I was an Inca warrior. He saw the headdress, he saw the markings on the face, and you know, who knows?
So I want you guys to get ready. Heidi's going to pull her card, but after this, before you leave the broadcast, and stay as long as you want. I hope we'll all stay to the end. But before you leave, you have to tell us the weirdest supernatural experience that you've ever had in your life. Sometime you have to tell us that before you leave, including the man, the myth, the legend, Rex Barry. He has to tell us some. It's not a good one. It's not the best one. So Heidi, what are you pulling?
What do you got, Heidi?
I don't know. What are we asking it? I forgot. Like, are we still going to go?
The archines? Was that Ransom?
All right, let's ask it. Ransom, give us a good topic here. Come on. You're great.
A different one than that one. Okay.
I think Rex has a question. Rex, ask a question for Heidi to pull.
There you go.
Tamu has one.
Okay. Does Tamu have a question?
I'll let Rex take it. Okay. Yeah. My question related to ransoms, are we the archons? I would like to ask, is there anything outside of us? Because I'm just wondering if all of this is really our projection.
Right. That's a great question. And like if we're watching this in a way, like if this is a movie, right?
This is a simulated world and we are the avatars. And yeah, so is there anything outside of us?
Out on the chat.
Oh gosh, this is a stressful one. I might have to pull 2 cards on this one.
Okay.
Let's pull one. You're not Jenny Moonstone.
The Fool.
Oh, the Fool. Oh, the perfect card.
Yes, my favorite card.
Right, it wasn't even reversed.
Oh my goodness! And you usually pull reversed cards.
What does that mean? So what does
that is? The Fool is the cosmic.
Okay.
I would say this means we're sitting here watching ourselves living in basically a video game, laughing. Like this is what we are. We're fools.
Top to bottom.
Right?
Tell us what you think the Fool is signifying there.
Well, this Fool is really signifying that we are boundless. That, you know, this is the cosmic egg. This contains everything. So it's everything that there is contained in us. We're infinite, we're boundless, we're the singularity. So yes, to me, that card is saying yes, that it is all us.
Look at the 0 at the top of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The cosmic egg, the 0.
Is that what that means? Oh, sorry. That 0, the cosmic egg. What's the cosmic egg?
So also you got to notice it's a 0. It's like infinity. It's round and round. We are everything. It's the journey. We are on the journey. We are all aspects of the journey.
Yes.
Everything. We have everything we need. We are everything we need. And we are the journey. And
that's exciting, guys. We need to be like feeling great right now.
We are the journey. Wayne Steiger, it's your turn.
Well, I always see the Fool card as eventually the master. I mean, that's how the Fool becomes a master.
Because he's not afraid to try.
No.
Got to step into that power. Step into it.
Yeah. And the bag, let me tell you, we missed the bag, what he has. I've been reading Aleister Crowley, and his interpretation of the Fool blew me away. He says that bag contains everything of the divine.
Interesting. Well, it does have the all-seeing eye on it.
Let's look at that bag. What's going on with that bag? What's in that bag?
Roky's hand, the little hand.
The Eye of Horus.
Yeah. You see, it's and if you look at the master card, the
magician. Where is
so
it?
Rex, what do you see?
What
on the full card?
Yeah.
Okay, so I see somebody. First of all, why is it called the Fool unless it's the Fool? But then you're like, okay, this guy's a fool because he's walking off of something and he thinks that he's prepared for everything, and he's not. He's just kind of going without thought. He's just following, or is he going with thought and not using his intuition? The Fool card's very interesting for me because I don't know enough about it. So I'm just kind of giving you my own opinions from what's coming, off the cuff. I haven't studied tarot, so I don't.
I think he's a child.
But you know what Rex just said was perfect. Yeah. That he has everything, but he doesn't know it. We have everything, we don't know it.
Oh, good interpretation.
That's what Rex just said.
I like that.
That last statement.
Ransom, do you have something to add on this?
I actually like you because I really don't know nothing about tarot. But when I'm looking at this guy, I see a guy that's, he's ready to go on a journey. He's got his little bag of essentials. But he's the fool because he's at that point in life when he's learned so much, he's realized that I don't know shit. Like the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know anything. So that's what I see with the fool. So you're smart enough to realize you're still going to be learning for the rest of your time.
We do kind of have to be on earmuffs because Rex said that YouTube's cracking down on that. So let's try to be PG-13.
What are we saying something good?
No, just
dang it, darn.
Gosh, last night I went off.
Foul mouth. I'm sorry, I don't even notice. I speak American and I just do it. I don't know.
American. We just can't control it. I know it's so
American.
Damn it.
Okay, what about the Hermit reversed that I just pulled?
Heidi, I don't really do reverses, but the Hermit card is related to the Fool's card. It's it has the illumination, the self-illumination. You've been a hermit, you've been in that world, you're stepping more into your sagedom. So that, to me, that is very connected to the Fool.
Yeah. That's my birth card, is the Hermit card.
And because it's reversed, let me just add in that reverse, it usually means it's the opposite. So how about this, kids? Yeah. How about if it were just the Hermit, that means that, we're going away, we're studying, we're learning, we're going to sequester ourselves. But since it's reversed, it means, bam,
we're distracted.
We've already been learning. We already got it ready to go. And bam, now we're ready to head out, kick butt, and take names.
Yeah, like that one.
Hello. All right.
So funny.
It's time. Our time of our hermitage is over. And you want to hear something crazy, guys? When I was just up in Nashville to go to the full solar eclipse, which Wayne gave me the inspiration to go up to, guess where I went and spent almost half a day and had some profound spiritual experiences at? The Hermitage.
Yeah.
The place of the Andrew Jackson, President of the United States. So our hermitage, our time of being a hermit is over. It's time for us to move out and move on and take off. I'm telling you, folks, it's jubilation time. Yeah. We are ready to bust loose, wall to wall, treetop tall, pedal to the metal, lock and load, ladies and gentlemen.
So is the hermit the guy that's like knows a lot of stuff but can't relate to nobody, so he's got to stay by himself because everybody thinks they're nuts?
That's us. That's the six of us.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Rex, you think I'm totally crazy, don't you? You think I'm total nut.
No, as a matter of fact, if I did, I wouldn't be doing this conversation with you guys right now. I appreciate your outlook. And, one of the things that I like about discussing just different theories with you, especially, is like, even though we don't agree on everything, we can kind of talk to each other and maybe come up with new information. It's having it. Here's one thing that I find interesting. People that always want to talk to people that have the exact same opinions and just, oh yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, all right. That's kind of boring. You know, I mean, it's good to have conversations with people that maybe have a different perspective and stuff like that, because otherwise we're just sitting still. So I like a lot of what you bring to the table, and I really liked how before, when the Irma stuff was going on, you're like, hey, man, forget this. Let's focus some energy. Let's be the change, and let's move this bad boy. And whether or not we had anything to do with it, like it kind of going back off into the Atlantic, it did. And we can at least say, you know what, we were a part of wanting to make a change. And that in and of itself, I feel, is a spark to make enormous changes in the future as well. So I think
Rex, let's take a little turn here. Somebody said, ask Rex. What did they say about ask Rex? I missed it. Sorry. But Rex, I wanted to add, I'm a Christian. What's happening to me? We'll get to that. But Rex, I wanted to address this with you because this is September 23rd. A lot of people thought it was the end of the world. You know, a lot of people thought that, you know, things were going to go to hell in a handbasket. Nibiru was going to hit, and everything was going to be bad. What do you think about the possibility that we should maybe think about, and I know Wayne does a lot of this too, should we think about actually making some preparations just in case things go wrong? And how do you answer the critics that say, oh, you're doom and gloom, that's stupid, don't think about that kind of stuff, if you do?
Well, I mean, like earlier today, I had a podcast talking about how if you really look at what's happened in 2017, for example, this year alone, we've gone through multiple hurricanes. There has been entire islands that have lost power. Houston, millions of people lost power. The city was flooded. People, you know, literally turned into zombies for a while. I have a friend that's a nurse. She had somebody that came in that had to get neurosurgery because they had their brains bashed in literally by a couple thugs that wanted some gasoline because they were freaked out they weren't going to be able to get any, so they wanted to butt in line. So, dude, yeah, I think it's a good idea to prepare. So you want to call me a doom and gloom? Just turn on the TV. Go to Houston. Go to the Gulf Coast. Why don't you go to Northwest and go look at all the fires that are out there right now and how people can barely breathe? Why don't you go out to Boston or Houston when they're spraying for mosquitoes from airplanes and people have to wear gas masks and call me a doom and gloomer? I mean, I think it's kind of ignorant, to say the least, and people are projecting their own fears by attempting to call you a doom and gloomer. So if you're that way, hey, that's cool. Go watch Sesame Street. Go watch Barney and Friends. That's okay. You don't need to come on here. And I find it really bizarre when people continue to use terms like, oh, they'll continue to say over and over, Helligan dialect or neurolinguistic programming. Oh, anybody that has a different opinion than me is a freak and a crazy person. Well, maybe you need to quit throwing so many freaking rocks in your glass house, buddy, and pull the freaking tree out of your eyeball before you start looking for little specks of dust out of somebody else. People have different opinions. So for you to sit there and continue and type, oh, I'm going to trigger this person by saying flat earth. I mean, what's wrong with you, dude? Really? Is that how you get your kicks? I don't know. People are crazy when they start talking about doom and gloom, and they are so ignorant to what's going on in front of them. And I always say, expect the best, prepare for the worst. You have health insurance, you have life insurance, you have car insurance, and you've got $100 in the bank, and you've got 3 days worth of food. Really? And you're spending $1,000 a month just on insurance? And I'm the doom and gloomer? Well, okay. That's my opinion on that. Shapeshifter.
Can I say, Rex, like, I just want to say, you know, you have so many subscribers. And even though you have the haters, I will say you brought us all together. You know, so you have done a lot of good things. So
that's all your fault.
Let me say this. I feel like I have like these cyber friends right now that I actually literally know. So even though we're doom and gloomers, I study astrology in the doom and gloom way. We all have this similarity. And even the people that hate us, and they still watch us, they still want to know. I mean,
it's kind of your fault.
It's kind of funny because you have so many subscribers and they just keep growing. It's not like they fall off. Yeah. So people are still listening. I really think they just like try to mess with us. Like that's what happens. I do believe though, the amount of people's lives you have changed just through me. I mean, and me, my life, obviously, and meeting all of them. I mean, it's just crazy. You knew this. You're doing something on such a scale. It's just unbelievable.
It's all your fault, Rex.
Other through Rex.
We got to get some T-shirts.
Rex for help,
I know you don't like those weird compliments, but I think you need to know that. Because like I would not be here if that didn't happen. If I didn't think the world was going to end and I thought Nibiru was coming and really I was having an anxiety attack, maybe that's what happens. That's how we all have to find each other, because we all have intense charts. And everybody's chart I've done from your show and from these shows all has intense charts. They're charts of truth, people that want to know the facts. That's why we're all together. There's patterns. So it's like, I think maybe it was to bring us all together, all this fear, because it's the only thing that would open up our eyes, right? What if it was that?
You know, Heidi, I have like 3 appointments every day, and the first sentence out of every person's mouth that I do an appointment with is, I had Heidi do my chart. They all say that.
Yeah.
But Rex, literally, I mean, what do you think when, I mean, here's 5 people and you literally brought all of us together. What makes you, what do you think about when you think of that?
I think that's awesome. I think that's amazing. You have no idea how good that makes me feel. Like the hair is standing up on my arms right now thinking about it. So thank you. That means a lot to me. And I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to start getting emotional, but I appreciate all you guys, man. I mean, because if I wasn't doing this here, I'd be doing this somewhere else. Like I've worked for you. I've talked to you about jobs that I've had before and careers that I've had before. I was talking about this kind of stuff in the lunchroom. And people were listening to me. And what's funny is they would start off like thinking I was nuts. And then guess what? A week later, 2 weeks later, they're like, hey, Rex, what do you think about this? Hey, Rex, what's your opinion on this? So I thought I was the crazy one, man. Now you're asking me for advice. So all I have to say about that is I appreciate that. And I couldn't do it without you guys, because seriously, I get schooled every single day from all of you. And, you know, Wayne, you're amazing, man. I've seen you grow like leaps and bounds just the past few months. And Heidi, you're amazing. Tamu, you're amazing. And also Jeff, dude, you're like blowing my mind on all these different ideas and stuff. As controversial as you are, you're like, that's what I like about you, dude. I mean, I'm starting to really, at first I was like, wait a second, is he really doing that? I'm like, yeah, he's really doing that. You're still going, man. And I don't think you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You know, if you were the kind of guy that, like, I've had somebody on the show before and I took their videos down and everything because they started just getting weird and started using things the wrong way. And I don't want anybody taking advantage of anybody that listens to Leak Project, or anybody for that matter. But when I start seeing that kind of stuff, I just disassociate. I push myself away. And I know when people are genuine and when people aren't. When people bus toss people just to get views, that's stupid. That's childish. If you're calling somebody out because you really see them as being the bad guy, or they're doing wrong, and you want to set the record straight, well, I respect that. It's all in what's in your mind. I would rather have a good conversation with somebody that I didn't agree with anything they said because they believed in what they said and they were passionate about it, than somebody just agreeing with me just to agree with me. If you believe in what you're saying and what you're practicing, hey man, God bless you. That's awesome. And whatever you believe God is, hey, right on. And you're atheist, hey, may the force be with you, whatever.
Yeah. And let me say this about Rex. I think this needs to be said. I mean, if you look at Rex's channel, like 150,000 some odd subscribers. Tamu's rocking. She's into the over 100 now. Wayne's got what, 12,000 or so, Wayne?
Almost getting up there, yeah.
Heidi, 4,000 or 5,000, right?
Finally just hit the 3.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Ransom, I don't know where you're at.
Very fast.
I'm like 7,500 or so. And Rex has 150,000. What Rex has done with all of us, it doesn't do Rex any good. Rex does this out of the good of his heart. He's not just trying to build his own empire. He's actually trying to help and build and mentor. And I think that says a lot about who Rex Bear is. And if sometimes you may think, oh, well, Rex is this or Rex is that, remember that Rex has gone out of his way to reach out and help people that really can't help him that much. I mean, let's face it. Do you think it really matters, the 7,000 people that are subscribed to me? If he lost 7,000, he wouldn't even notice. So hats off to you, Rex, for being a mentor and a leader and a stand-up guy in this genre. Namaste, brother.
You know what I'm happy about with Rex is that somebody told me to look for Rex. They said, hey, this guy is just like you. He says all the same stuff. He's asking all. And then when I get on Rex's channel, he has people coming on that are like him. So I'm sitting in my house going, thank God I'm not alone, surrounded by people that are just asleep. They're just asleep, living out their life, but they're not really living it. They're just going through the motions. And people like me irritate them because I bring up things, you know, like, hey, look at that. That's odd. Why are they doing that? Well, hey, why are you telling me about that? I'm trying to watch football, drink beer, and leave me alone. So I was happy there was other people out there thinking about other things than whatever book their parents told them that this is the way it is. You just need to believe it, shut up, and conform.
So how do we take it to the next
videos
level?
are hilarious. What's that?
I think we keep doing what we're doing. I think we build our circle even more and we expand it. I think it's amazing that we can even do this. Like, it's crazy. Like, I feel like my best friends are online. I've never met them. It's kind of crazy. It's so weird. I have these cyber friends that I've never met. And my friends, like my human friends, they literally say to me, they're like, did you ever meet Jenny? Do you ever meet these people? Like, I'm like, no, never. But we talk to each other all the time. Like, all of us do. We all have these different personalities, but they all, guess what? They're all clicking on the charts. Mm-hmm. They're all connected. I mean, it's amazing how this lines up. So, trust me, I look at charts before I do work with somebody. My boss, every boss I've ever worked for, I've asked them what time they're born just to see if I could hit. Like, this is how I roll. So this is me. I base everything off the charts. Yeah. And, and it's so crazy how this has brought us all together and that we can even do this. And I have all these friends. I never had a lot of friends because I didn't like a lot of people. A lot of people didn't think like me, didn't have that. But now we can reach out and talk to people. Can you imagine in this, I say the Stone Age, but back in the day when you couldn't do this? Like, what if you hated everybody around you? What would you do? Like, that would be the worst thing in the world. That's the hard bit.
And what people don't understand is we really are friends. Like, Tom will tell me, Jeff, take that down off your page. You shouldn't do that. Heidi will call me up and say, listen, bro, you shouldn't have changed your name. That's a mistake. Rex will say, Jeff, I understand where you are, but don't mention their name so much. That's a mistake. And I listen to you guys because I know you're right. And I've made changes. Thank you, Devil Star or Devar Star, Dev Star. I've made changes and we help each other out. It really is truly friendship.
And Ransom, you're just one creative, amazing person. I just wish you could make all my videos, please. God.
You guys got to watch the Nanu video that he did.
That is so funny. I mean,
and the Alex Jones rants.
I didn't want to upset nobody, but
we love that. And honestly, you were so supportive. Like, I appreciate anybody that has supported, there's like a crew of certain people that were just always so nice and kind and just, because there's a lot of haters out there. And I'm not one that handles them well.
Free. Kindness
I do not handle them well. Huh?
I'm looking forward to that Christian whistleblower video that Ransom's going to make.
That'll be fun.
I don't want to spoil it, but yes, I have an Elvis thing, and I'm not satisfied with the way it sounds. So, like that thing with the Nanu thing, I just got all excited. I dropped all my other projects, and I just couldn't help it because I was having a good time watching the show. So I just threw all my other stuff and quit, and then started playing with that video. I couldn't help it.
And you have some
dude, it's epic.
You have so much knowledge. Like, I just. Maybe you bring it out differently in the videos, but you are.
Believe me, I only start talking about a little bit of stuff because I don't want to get everybody all upset right away.
You're a Scorpio. That's all I have to say. Secrets. It is what it is. You've got Venus and Sun in the first house. You are the person that knows the stuff.
Well, I know a little bit of stuff, but I think my main tool in life is empathy now. If I can understand some of these people I've made videos about, I don't know them. I've never met them. I just came across a video and I felt like I looked kind of in their soul, and then I try to get a little gif for their personality and I made a video and it turns out usually that person's like, yeah, you got me right on. I'm not doing tarot or none of that stuff. I just watch their stuff and look at them.
So Wayne Steiger, you've been involved in the highest levels of political intrigue. You've been involved in some very high levels of finance. You've been involved in some very high levels of religion and spirituality. How do you see where we are, like us here as a group, maybe the genre as a whole, and as a guy who's kind of been there, done that, what kind of advice can you give to us, or what kind of potholes can you point out to us that we need to maybe watch out for?
Well, I think earlier someone had mentioned that none of us are all the same, but yet we're paralleling. And I think that affords the checks and balances. Because so often people can sometimes say that when a group's come together, you can almost become cultish or cliquish. But what I like about this is iron sharpening iron. You know, I don't believe everything that everyone else in here, but I see commonality within it all. And so that tells me I want to know Tamu. I want to know Heidi. I want to know Jeff. You know, and that is what I like. That's what I find.
What about me, Wayne?
Well, Rex, are you kidding? It's all your fault.
Damn it.
Damn it. I'm going to get a t-shirt made. It's Rex's fault.
It's Rex's fault.
Yeah, but you know, Rex, you actually, I think in a lot of ways is, and I'm not blowing sunshine up anyone's skirt here because none of us need that. But
Rex, are you wearing a skirt?
Say, how did you know, man? How did you know, Wayne?
I looked at the cards, but anyway.
I looked at the cards. The transgender card.
Exactly. Well, actually, I pulled the lover card up and I went, what?
Oh,
the lover card.
But
Nice.
I'll put it like this. I think what's happened is that this collection of souls is part of a much larger collective movement taking place. And
your volume's off, Wayne, and you're a little low.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, better.
Okay. I think that what we represent is the same thing that's taking place all over. There is a collective consciousness move taking place. And whether it was you, Rex, that started, or whether it was just the fact that we moved in from one age to another, something has changed. And the knowledge is coming forth, knowledge that we would have probably 2 years ago rebuked. So that's how I see it. And I think that when someone can be honest enough with you and say, I don't think that that's right, but yet still support you, now that's someone I want on my team.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, Tamu and Heidi, I mean, one of my frustrations with our genre is it's mostly male and it's mostly white. What can we do to expand and get more feminine knowledge into this genre and to get more knowledge of a more diverse people instead of just old white guys? And I'm not just talking about Wayne Steiger.
I think just keep doing what we're doing and keep bringing more people into the circle. And that's where I think Tamu and I are good at this because we are definitely more, I mean, we focus on cultures and, you know, that's us. Mars K2 in the first house, boom. It's like, but we have to take the action and do it. Like a lot of people are very shy, I could say. A lot of women don't want to do this. Why? To come out here, it's like a gauntlet. Let's be honest. Most chicks cannot do this shit. Like it is what it is. Go out on the leak project and get annihilated. It takes a lot. It is a lot. And it shakes me up. Like that's why I get so mad. And you know, and it's funny that I'm so happy because I felt like such a weirdo that I feel like the only one that gets so stressed out. But I guess women think like women get more emotional about things, but I take it like to heart. Like, no. And then I always say, get a freaking reading and then we'll see. Then come talk to me. Get a reading from me and then come, you know, that's what I say. Because I don't believe just mumbo jumbo. I'm not up here because I wanted to become an astrologer. I just called Rex because I thought the world was ending and asked him for his birth time because he had some similar things. And I asked everybody I knew what time they were born. Did I ever think this would be? Thank you to Mr. DJ. Okay. Love you. I always will love you. Okay. Thank you. All because of him and Rex. That's why I'm here. So it's like, it's crazy to me that but women aren't easily going to be able to go on, you know, these channels with all this energy and take it. I mean, it is insane. Like some of the things people say are literally, like I saw a comment yesterday that almost blew my mind. I mean, it doesn't bother me, but I can tell you somebody normal that they could not handle that. They would cry, they would lose their mind, they might kill themselves. Like seriously, think about it. So we have to I think that's what everybody needs to understand. So people that watch, relax, calm down, respect that.
Oh
God.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what.
It's Brother Jeff. How y'all doing?
I want to go put I want to go put on really bad.
How y'all doing? You know old Brother Jeff had to come up here for the Rupture show.
Oh, man.
I don't
like
know
that
why
hat you got there,
celebrating a rupture. Rupture usually a bad thing.
Velociraptor.
I have no hats of that type at all.
That's a nice hat you got down there, Rex Bear.
This is like therapy.
And the way that I got it was even better because this a-hole left it at this job that I used to have as he came in there and was just, you know, the biggest dipshit blah, 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 blah on the planet. I didn't say it. And so he bragged about how good he was and how cool he was. And then he left his hat and he was bragging about his hat and he left it and he never called back and asked for it. So I'm wearing this for you, buddy. Just for you. Hello.
I'm gonna put my hat on, but I think I'll make some people angry.
Now, I hear all y'all all the time. Darty's listening to this channel and that channel. I see Tamu on there and Wayne Stigger. And then the feller down there on the bottom, Ransom. I thought somebody had him caught captive or something. But and Heidi, he's always talking about this chart and that chart and K2 and R2. All of them. And Rex Bear. I mean, all I hear about is Rex Bear. Rex this, Rex that, Rex. But y'all are pretty nice. And, you know, I'm Brother Jeff. I just want to come in and say hello to y'all. Find out why y'all was so excited about a rupture. But and
Heidi,
11.
Rex Bear, I heard there's some guy named Ozzy that I think I might like that. He's a pretty cool guy.
Let me go look for him. Let me go see if I can find Ozzy. He's around here somewhere. I'll be right back.
I got a minute or two. I can wait for Ozzy.
God, your charts.
Tell Brother Jeff.
Your charts are so similar. Can you tell? Can anybody see their charts are kind of similar? A little bit.
Heidi, go get your hat. Heidi, I want to see your hat.
No, it might offend people.
Oh, come on.
Come on.
Oh, Ransom, tell me what you're all about, brother. I don't even hardly know you. Tell me what you're all about.
What am I all about? I am about fighting every form of tyranny over the mind, body, and soul of man, whatever I can do to help that effort. And when I say man, I mean, you know, of course, women, men, all men on the earth, everybody. Because we're all in the human condition. We're no different.
Well, you know, that's some kind of high-sounding words, but what does that really mean in a practical aspect? How can Brother Jeff fight him some tyranny if he wants to? Oh, good God.
Generals gathered in the muscle, just like bleachers at black masses. Whoa, Lord, yeah.
This is so fun.
Wow. What's your
Woo!
name?
What do you get when you put a drunk nerd together with an ex-pastor and an astrologist?
What?
Jeff Darty's Christian Whistleblower, the night of the rapture.
Oh,
wow.
We've all been raptured, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't it feel good?
Yes. Guys, we're all still here. It's exciting. I guess.
It's exciting. Well, it was nice
comments.
Ozzy.
I would love to see some of these comments right now.
Yeah, I can't look at that. I try to pay attention to the other people. I can't even, I don't even know how you guys do that.
It's so hard. It's really, really hard. You can only do it when you have more than one people.
I can't follow it in the chat.
I didn't run off Tamu, did I run off Tamu and Wayne?
They're probably getting costumes on.
Oh, okay. Oh, there's Tamu. Right.
Mr. Crowley, what went wrong with your head? Oh, Mr. Crowley, did you talk to the dead?
Tamu, I thought I'd done run you off, sweetheart. I'm glad you're back.
That's a weird word there, the crowd.
It would be fun. We could go through each sign and we could pull a tarot card and give them a reading.
Oh, y'all just done went way over my intellectual level. So I just want to say hello to y'all.
Why don't we ask the Rod's questions?
I'm glad to know it ain't a rupture, but it's a rapture. And I'll see y'all again. I'm Brother Jeff. Adios.
Can we do Rod's? Can we ask the Rod's questions?
Okay.
I need some more water.
Yeah, go get some water. Let's do the Rods. Let's ask it questions. Let people ask.
And Heidi should get her hat.
No, I can't get it. I'm not in the mood.
Is it a Make America Free Again hat?
Absolutely. I have a Make America Great Again red, bright, shiny hat.
Well, you ought to get that. I'm sorry that Brother Jeff snuck in there every now and then.
I'll just keep my Trump close by. Isn't he cute? He matched. I want more of this to match today.
Ozzy, good to see you, brother.
Yeah. So
What's up?
Hey,
all right, are we gonna let the viewers ask questions, or are we gonna ask questions?
about what? What I mean?
Rods.
I would like to involve some of the viewers. So,
Yeah,
you know, a little bit of both.
I would like you to get that microphone boom out of your eyeball.
Oh, God.
You know, it is so hard to pay attention to you guys and realize I'm still here talking to you because I always watch you guys. So it's kind of odd that, you know, like I'm sitting there, I forget. Oh, yeah, I'm with you guys.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to let people in the chat room say what question they want to have asked. And they can say, do they want Tamu and Roz to do it, Jeff and Rods, or, oh, God.
Oh my gosh!
Or Heidi Rex with cards to do it.
Hold on, I gotta take a picture and send that to my dad. Hold on, this will be funny. Sorry. Hold on. My dad will die when he sees this.
Let's start off with Stephanie Lee's question for the Rods. Is the International Space Station fake? No, it is not fake. And in fact, if Wayne Steiger were still here, Wayne would say that during the full solar eclipse, he took a picture of the International Space Station passing in front of the full solar eclipse. So, no, the International Space Station is not fake. Is that correct, Wayne? You would concur with that?
I would concur with that.
You changed your shirt. Did you spill something on yourself?
Well, I got new lights, and brother, it was getting hot in here.
Oh, it does get hot in here.
I saw
Rex's garage.
I started saying that, and I went, "Holy crap! I got to take a break."
I've been to the International Space Station.
Is it real?
Is it real? I want to know because I think.
Oh, it's real. I've been there.
Okay.
Nice.
What if it's just not in space? I got the night reverse.
Ah, but actually, Heidi, you are actually more correct than what you.
Or there's two of them.
How about the Black Knight? Is that what you're thinking, Wayne?
Well, but she's actually right. The International Space Station is only 200 miles up. That's not out of the Earth's atmosphere.
Oh.
Oh, look.
Technically, it is not. Yeah, technically, it's not in space.
Interesting.
I personally think they have two of them. They have one that's for the public show, and then they also have things that they're doing that we're not going to get to look at. I mean, they're just not going to let it. There's so many weird things with some of the videos that they can't be explained with science. So I'm on the trip that they have two different ones, and they film different things there.
That makes sense.
Like a stage and a real one. We don't get to see what they're doing on the real one.
Is that kind of, let's throw out the question that everybody is kind of becomes nouveau now, that yes, we went to the moon, but what we saw wasn't really us going to the moon.
I think that's correct. I think there was a show put on for us. And whatever's on the moon, they didn't want us to know about.
Well, Wayne, what do you think about that? Did we go to the moon, and did what we see going to the moon, was that really going to the moon?
One of the most memorable trips I had from Orlando to Houston was escorting Gene Cernan from an event that took place at NASA, Cape Canaveral. And I sat next to Gene Cernan all the way back to Houston. Mm-hmm. And he was the last man to walk on the moon. And I asked him straight up, I said, why didn't we go back? And all he told me was, Wayne, Congress passed. When they passed for Apollo 17, they had already paid for the next 3 Apollo missions. Now, what happened to those engines? What happened to those rockets? What happened to the man orbiters that were already built?
Well, some of them are up here at the Space Hall of Fame next to my house, sitting outside rusting.
Well, I believe that here's what I think happened. I think that we were told to leave. And don't bring your butts back. I think that's what they were told.
You know, can I throw in something on that? Because, Wayne, there is so many crazy anomalies on the moon. And it's interesting how we supposedly went there a whole bunch of times and then just stopped going there. And so now the new conspiracy is we never went there. And space isn't real and planets aren't real, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, fine. You can't have a real conversation with somebody like that. But when you get into the moon and what you just said about how we were probably told to leave, isn't it interesting that just a few years ago, there was press about it, and then it just kind of disappeared, how we were sending a missile to the moon to look for some water, try and do something on the moon to cause water to shoot up into the atmosphere so they could track it or something like that. And why? Why would you say? And not only that, let's add something to that. So if you could go to the moon in 1969 with the technologies that they had then, computers were the size of houses. Why wouldn't they do it now unless something's already there that said, like you just brought up, don't come back?
My dad worked, I'm proud of my father. He worked 37 years at NASA. He designed all the instrumentation panels of starting with Gemini, ending with what was the Aurora project. And I've actually talked to Armstrong, and all I know is this, is that that's a weird thing up there. It's hollow. We know that. And these men that people say didn't go, well, either they put on the best show that was ever out there, but I talked to Gene Cernan and I asked him flat up, did you actually step on the moon? And this is what he told me. He said, Wayne, when I stepped off the orbiter, he said, I felt God. I said, what do you mean? He said, it was overwhelming. He said that there is a presence that's out there. And I could only take that he was telling the truth. You know, he died about 1.5 years later. So I don't know, Rex. I think that we were up there. I think something happened. Again, I know that Apollo 18 that you never hear about, and they have all the myths about it. But I think that flight, in fact, that orbit actually happened.
That makes me happy to hear. I really like hearing that.
You know what else is very interesting is, just real quick, is like the radiation levels. I wonder how high they are when you get into, like, when you pass the atmosphere, because literally going from the ground into an airplane, I was keeping track of the Geiger counter, and it went from 0.07 to 4.2 when I flew to Alaska in 2013. So that's high. I'm talking about microsieverts per hour. So from 0.07 microsieverts to 4.2, that is extremely high. So you've got to have some serious protection in space because you're going to have a lot of radiation from the stars.
Gene told me this. He said our sun has changed. Now, that's what he told me. And he didn't get into it. All he said is that our sun has changed. Now, here's what I've taken from that. I think the radiation levels that they had back in the late 60s and early 70s was not near the intensity that it is today. I think that anyone that's going to go outside the atmosphere, going up particularly in the lithosphere to the heliosphere of the planet, I personally, Rex, I think the radiation now, the cosmic radiation coming in, will make it impossible for man to get outside there.
Sorry. I was just going to say one more thing real quick. Wayne, haven't you noticed, though, like if you look at the sun during the sunset, some days you will see that beautiful orange sun that we used to see as kids. But most of the time, it looks like this crazy bright white light. So I wonder if that's from the stratospheric aerosol injections by them actually getting rid of a large portion of the atmosphere, which has been verified via Geoengineering Act of 2017, Rhode Island. 74% of the atmosphere has been depleted from these sprays. Could they have done something to the atmosphere to make it look like the sun has changed when maybe it hasn't?
That sun has changed. I defy anyone to go out. Now, I live at 6,000 feet of elevation here in Colorado. I'm telling you, I can't go out in the sun from 9 o'clock to about 2 o'clock because it hurts. It literally stings your skin.
Get burned. Yes.
But I think it's because they messed up the ozone. I think it's because they literally deliberately destroyed a large portion of the protective ozone that is our protective force field intentionally to cause some type of, whether they want to look at it as population control. Maybe they think that if they get rid of 75% of the atmosphere, more people will die. I don't know. I don't think they want to kill the entire planet, but I do think that certain industries combined with certain factions do want to keep the population at a certain level. And maybe they think that if they, I don't know, get rid of 75% of the atmosphere and people can't go outside, people start to lose faith. They start to just say, okay, I'm going to stay at home. I'm going to take pharmaceutical drugs. I'm going to eat genetically modified foods. I'm not talking about you, Wayne. I'm just saying. People are doing it right now. Like I love going outside when there's no, you know what I've noticed when I go biking, and I bike a lot, when I go cycling and I'll do 15 miles or 50 miles some days or 30 miles or 40 miles or whatever. But I notice when they spray more, it's harder on my skin. When they don't spray as much, I can go out, beautiful blue skies, the sun right on me, and I love it.
Yeah.
What kind of a life form would be able to find the current atmosphere more hospitable than perhaps our former atmosphere?
I think a being that would be used to a planet that has a less of an atmosphere. The thing about Earth's atmosphere, when
a
you look
dwindling one.
Well, it's dense. You know, we know this. If you look over the geological record, what's happened is that the atmosphere has actually changed, and there are reasons for it. Listen, I think that the sun is starting to burn helium.
Burn what?
Helium.
It is.
I think that that's what we're feeling, is this intensity that's coming off. That's not a yellow star up there, Rex. That's what I believe. I followed it enough.
Well, hey, I certainly think that you could be right. I just find it interesting. I'm just playing devil's advocate for a minute here, looking at playing the opposite side. But let's say that, because look, go outside some days. And when there's, for some reason, you look at the sun, I'm sure there's an explanation for this, but during the sunset, and it looks like that orange sun that we used to see. I mean, I've got video footage of it from recently. I was out at the airport in San Antonio. I was out biking, and when the sun was coming down, it looked orange. Like we usually don't see it. Usually when we look at it, it's this bright white light that just, you can't look at it. It hurts your skin, like you said. A lot of people, not mine, but a lot of people it does. And I think it's because they've messed up the stratosphere and the atmosphere so much by attempting to cool the planet, which in return is causing a microwave effect, which it's looking more amplified. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe the sun has changed.
The area, because I will say, like, the sun here is always yellow.
Well, let me say this. I do sun gazing. So every morning
I see the sunset every day. So I'm just saying, like, maybe could it be the areas?
Well, every morning I go out to the beach about 7 o'clock. I do a little bit of Tai Chi. I do some running, and then I do sun gazing. I'm up to about almost 10 minutes. So every day I'm looking at the sun for now up to 10 minutes. And I'm trying to me, it doesn't look weird, but I've only been doing it for a few months. So I don't really know, Rex. I can't really say if it doesn't look like the sun used to look, because I guess I never paid that much attention to the sun.
Oh, I can tell a difference big time. Most of the time, I can tell a huge difference, just like Wayne is saying. I mean, it's this bright white, and back in the day, I remember, I mean, I've got coloring books from when I was a kid at my parents' house where I used to draw the color of the sun as being yellow or orange, as most kids did. And now you look at the sun and it looks white, and it's crazy. But I think that it's because of the atmosphere. That's just my opinion, is they're attempting to, or they're saying that they're going to cool the planet, because if it raises 5 degrees, then everybody's going to die, according to the UN. Oh, yeah. I mean, but that's interesting, isn't it? Because I can go outside if it's 5 degrees hotter. I'll take it. No problem. I mean, geez, let's go to Arizona right now in Flagstaff. It's 5 degrees hotter out there. So if it raises 5 degrees next year, that means everybody's going to die. I just don't see the logic in that. You know what they're using as an excuse?
When they're talking about a sun simulator, what is that?
The sun simulators are giant. They're giant simulators that literally are like artificial suns. They will take the sun's rays and they will turn that into energy and then project the sun. There's a multitude of different ones. That's one of them in specific. There's a multitude of patents, but they are literally artificial suns. So what if they have a bunch of artificial suns out there that take the sun's energy and then project it towards the earth? That could be. But when people say they're looking at an artificial sun when they're looking at the sun, I think that that's a little bit of a stretch, in my opinion.
I have caught that on the ISS. I got footage. I'll go into my archives from 2015 where I caught 2 sunsets, 2 suns going in 2 different directions. Now, what I think it is, there is a device up there on the ISS that is using some sort of, I don't know what the power is. We've caught it. I've caught it in frames. And when they fire that thing up, it's as bright as the sun. And I've got the footage. In fact, if you want to take a peek at it, I'll make sure I'll do a Google drop for you. You can see it.
They're making plasma balls up there.
Well, I saw, listen, what we caught on the ISS was one sunset going as it was going. And then we caught another sunset going that way.
Yeah.
Let me interrupt this broadcast for an important emergency message. We have only 30 minutes left until the rapture. So I would encourage you to make sure that you make preparations, because in the next 30 minutes, we are going to experience the rapture. September 23, 2017, only 30 minutes left. Say goodbye to your loved ones. Do what you need to do. There's only 30 minutes left. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
So anyway, do I think that a sun simulator exists? Yes, we've seen the patents. Rex, you have done shows on those. We have seen down in Huntsville where they're actually building them. The Russians, listen, the thing I always say that I realized is that the only thing that we see is what NASA gives us. We don't get to see what the Russians are doing. We don't get to see what the Chinese are doing. And the Chinese are really advancing their space program. So I think that the Chinese have their own space station up there. That's just me.
I think you guys are both right, you and Rex, because when you think about optics and dynamics, when you're looking at the west or the east, there's hundreds of miles of atmosphere low to the earth. You're looking at a low angle. So there's lots of air, dust, particles, water, and all that. And it gives the sun a magnifying effect. So, you know, like when sunsets, they look bigger. But when you look straight up ahead, you're looking at the thinnest part is the between you and space is the smallest, shortest amount of atmosphere. So you're literally looking, and like you said about the helium, if you know anything about suns, they already say that once the hydrogen starts running out, it starts fusing helium and then it starts putting off the next element from fusion. So all of that seems right. And plus, we know that they've thinned the atmosphere. And you want to hear something really funny is if you go get sunblock, it only blocks out the UVA, the wrong one, the one that you need. That's the one it blocks out. The one that gives you skin cancer, it doesn't do anything for you.
Of course not.
So you're just slathering on chemicals, going to the beach, and you're blocking all the stuff that makes vitamin D in your skin, but you're absorbing all the carcinogenic rays of the sun. So it's completely backwards.
Born and raised in Florida, and I will swear up and down that more people have got cancer from sunblock than from the sun.
I agree with you.
I don't use it. Okay. I just turn brown outside. I don't know.
You ever wonder also if the chlorine in the water, you know, I mean, you're bathing constantly in chlorine and different chemicals. That might be a trigger point to many of these skin cancers, not necessarily the sun.
Why do you want to go into these pools that are full of chlorine and spend hours and hours in them?
Well, but when you take a bath or take a shower, I mean, you're bathing in chlorinated water unless you've got a really nice a really nice water filtration system.
What if you have a well?
Well, if you have a well, you're not going to be getting chlorine. I mean, you might be getting other stuff in there, most likely.
Iron. Lots of iron. My iron was low, and it's no longer low.
Yeah.
Hey, Rex. I actually got some pictures.
No joke.
Tomu, what do you have to say? Wayne shows us pictures.
Say what again? What?
What do you have to say about all this as Wayne shows us his picture?
Well, I feel that it's somewhere in between Wayne and Rex regarding the sun, because I'm darker than all of you.
Can y'all see that?
A lot of time. A lot of time out in the sun, and I'm a big sun worshiper, and I love being out in the sun. And in the last 3 or 4 years, I have found it very difficult to be out in the sun. Like someone said, between the hours of 8 o'clock until like 3 in the afternoon, I go out there, my skin is literally like stinging. And I do notice that it happens more. It's like, I remember in school learning about the different clouds. You have the cumulus clouds, the cirrus, and I think there's like 4 or 5 different types of clouds. Now there's this wispy cloud. I don't remember learning about,
chemtrail clouds.
Yes, I don't remember learning about that type of cloud. It's like this thin, gauzy veil over the sky, and the sun is bright white. I even went and bought sunglasses.
So you should be less susceptible to us than us to that because of your more melanin in your skin, right?
Right. And I can't deal with the sun. And I used to want to be out all day long, and I just can't handle it unless there's...
Once again, Rex Bear is proven to bring some good information to the table, and Wayne Steiger as well. Wayne, what are we looking at?
This is a UFO that I captured in one of my episodes of when I used to watch the cameras.
So this is just a UFO that you found watching the NASA cameras.
Well, I call it a UFO. I don't know what it is. It was
it's
actually
unidentified. It's flying. It's an option.
I think that the best frame that I really caught was this. You could actually see that this is a pretty big whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so I've seen enough come off of this thing that something's out there. What do you think, Rex?
Where is this?
I mean,
it's the International Space Station.
So I'm looking at this, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate again here for a minute. It looks like the way that it reflects and the way that it dissipates at the very end, that it could be some type of solar reflection, and at the same time, it could be some type of object, some type of ship that is going into, like, I don't know, it's morphing into where you can't see it, or it's going into another dimension. I don't know, but to me, if this isn't enough for me to say, yeah, that's a flying saucer, that's a spaceship. That's an alien craft. That's a government craft that is on black ops, but it could be, I mean, I don't know, but it's just not going to give me, but I will tell you this. Somebody asked earlier about what was one of the craziest things you wanted to ask us all the craziest things.
Yeah, that's a good time to start.
So let's talk. I mean, I will share, because I brought this up before, and I was very, very hesitant to bring this up for years. I mean, I talked to maybe 3 or 4 people about it until just recently, and I did a podcast on it. And just thinking about it, I'm starting to kind of freak out. When I was like a baby, when I was literally still in the crib, I remember being, and this is one of the reasons I believe in extraterrestrials. And you can call it whatever you want. You can call it MLK or MK programming, mind control, ultra, whatever. You can say that, you can think whatever you want. I don't care. I know what I saw. I was literally in my crib, and I can remember this almost like it was yesterday. My short-term memory sucks, but I can remember stuff from when I was a little kid, like way back. And I'm in the crib. I'm like standing there, and I'm just looking at these things. I don't know what they are, but what I used to think that they were was some type of, like, I asked my parents, actually, when I was out of high school. I said, did we have some type of life-size Star Wars figures or something? Or did I have some type of life-size Star Wars figures growing up? Because I remember being in my crib and looking at these beings that looked like something out of that scene of Return of the Jedi, when there was those like insectoid-looking things playing those instruments for Jabba the Hutt. Remember? That's how my mind correlated with that. I said, Mom, Dad, did we have some Star Wars? Because I always loved Star Wars. I love Star Wars. And they said, what are you talking about? And I started thinking, where was this house at? This was the first house that we lived in. And the first house that we lived in, we moved out of by the time that I was a year old. So I was literally less than a year old remembering this and seeing this. And it was like these life-size, almost like mantis beans or something like that, like a cross between a gray and a mantis or something. But I saw a statue from Machu Picchu. No, not Machu Picchu. What was that that temple that was built about supposedly 12,000 years ago in Turkey?
Yeah, Göbekli.
Yes.
Yep.
Göbekli Tepe.
Yep.
There was a mantis-looking statue that was found there, and this mantis statue was like holding this little person, and like I just totally, my mind was like, whoa, that's what I freaking saw. That was it. So whether it was a dream, maybe it was just a dream. Okay, maybe that's all it was. Maybe it's just a dream. Maybe it's just my imagination, but I still remember it, and it seemed extremely real to me at the time, and it still does enough to talk about it with you guys now. And I've talked to a few other people behind the scenes that have had similar experiences. So that's one of the strangest things that's ever happened to me. Swamp gas from Uranus? Could be.
Ransom, strangest thing that's ever happened to you?
Well, I kind of brought it up. I had sleep paralysis on and off throughout my life. And it was never too like supernatural or nothing like that. It was just more irritating, and I would feel a little fear about being awake and not being able to move. Like, it wasn't that big a deal. And when I got over it, but like I said, one night I opened my eyes and I believed that someone was hovering over me, messing with me. And I didn't think it was supernatural. I thought it was a human being.
Did you see a form, Ransom?
Huh?
Did you see a form?
Yes, it was a human form, but there was nothing in the form, if that makes sense. Like it looked like static, but also like a black hole, like at the same time. And the more I chased it, it seemed to become afraid of me. And like I broke free from, I've never had sleep paralysis since then. I felt like literally I faced my demon or something to that effect. But whatever it was, it seemed to be up to no good before I became conscious. So that is the only thing I've ever seen that I think I seen with my eyeballs.
That's empowering. Tamu, do you want to share any of your strange experiences?
Do I get to share more than one? Because I have two really strange ones I'd like to share. Okay.
You have one that's kind of correlates to ransoms.
Yes, I believe so. If I'm thinking of the right one. I think I was about 7 years old living in Chicago, and it was a duplex apartment. My great grandmother, my big mama, she lived upstairs. It was her house, and we had an apartment downstairs, my mother, myself, and my little brother. So I'm coming down the steps, the landing, and the landing was right by a window and then the front door. So as I got to the landing, I happened to look out the front door onto the porch, and I saw, the only way I can explain it was an invisible man, but he was outlined in electricity, static, which is how I could see him. And he was, so we were on a wooden porch with metal railing, and you had to walk down maybe 6 steps to get to the pavement. He was one leg over the banister, about to crawl onto the porch. And when I got there, I was like, oh, and he looked at me, turned his head and looked in my direction. I didn't see eyes, but I saw a head, outline of a head turn. And I just screamed bloody murder and ran into Mom's apartment. And I'm like, Mom, there's an invisible man out there. So when he saw me and I screamed, he jumped off the porch and ran around the side of the house and disappeared. And
give us your second one real quick.
Oh, the second one, I was 4 years old in my bedroom, and I was a kid who I was not afraid of the dark. So it was very dark in my bedroom. I don't even think I had a window. Maybe the window I had turned inside of this hexagonal shape of a different apartment. I was younger. And I remember being in the bed, and in the dark, I'm just staring out in the dark. And all of a sudden, in the middle of my bedroom floor appeared this larger than life swan that was self-illuminated. At 4 years old, I didn't know the term swan. Looking back, I know it was a swan. I just knew it was a giant bird that didn't belong there.
Amazing. Heidi, do you have a weird experience you want to share with us?
I have a lot, but I'll say I've definitely talked to, like, I've seen a lot of things, like, and they've been actually kind of scary, so I kind of block them out. But ghosts, scary ghosts, no, I'm not joking. Like ghosts, whatever the hell they are, spirits. I've seen a lot of dark entities.
Do they look corporeal to you? Do they look like they have form, or are they wispy?
They look like skeletons.
Really?
Skulls. So I see like crazy, and this is no joke. I saw them when I was a kid a lot, and just like, it's not good. That's why I got so religious.
Interesting.
I swear I've seen Satan.
What did he look like?
He had a skull face, but I think it was just I do believe it was my imagination too, though.
All right.
Like, I do feel like I manifested it because I just made it happen.
Yep.
Because I think you can do that. I believe you can concentrate on something so much. My whole thing is ghosts. I used to like try to, it's K2 in the first house. It's just you're gonna, if you try to see things, I have dreams a lot, and it's usually negative things that will happen to people. So if that's my intuition is more of a warning sign for people.
Interesting. Yeah. Wayne Steiger, do you have what's the creepiest experience that you've ever had that you want to share with us?
Creepiest. I think it was one time when I had an out-of-body experience and met a group of beings up there that weren't exactly as friendly as I thought. But yeah, that was an interesting time. I'm firmly convinced. I knew at a very young age that there were other life forms, and there are life forms that we can't see. It's just because our eye can't penetrate that type of light.
Yeah.
So what is it? You think we come in phase once in a while, or we have like an emotional, like we're just out of our normal vibration, or whatever you want to call it, and we come across these things? Because it seems like if you see them, then like that scientific thing we were talking about in particle physics, they change their behavior. It's like you saw them, they're exposed. And, like, that's what I felt like. It's like I caught something that had been there lots of times before, but this time it ran from me instead of me being afraid. And like, it never came back. I even made a video to try to show people kind of what it was like. But I mean, I can only do so much with, some Amazon cameras and, I
think, like, personally, I think each person has a particular gift with that. And you have to be very cautious what you do with it, because there is a specific there's specific nikshatras. I'll explain it through my astrology. My only way I can explain it. There are specific nikshatras that it's part of your karma, part of your past, part of your like, I can tell what everybody would see. Like I could have told you all those things about you guys. Like it's funny. Like Rahu, when you have more Rahu in your chart, you're going to see more like aliens, UFOs, like that kind of mystical thing. You're going to see more like those out of body experiences with Rahu. Ketu is going to be more of like something that scares you more. That's like it. So you have to look at each chart, what nakshatra it's in. But I can guarantee you can see that in charts. I've been researching it. It's pretty crazy.
Fascinating. Now, Wayne, didn't you say one time, and I don't know if I'm speaking out of school, but did you talk to me about seeing what you thought was a great big angel at some point?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was actually when I was devout Christian up at Grace Christian Center up in St. Louis back in 1979. And it wasn't just myself who saw the same angel or the same being. There were about a half dozen other people in the congregation of about, I don't know, I think there were 2,000 to 3,000 in there. So absolutely.
Happy last Yahweh Day.
Yeah. So have you seen these pictures I've been showing?
I have.
So this is the device that I was telling you about that actually generates the artificial sun.
Why would they have one of those? What would the point be?
I don't know. It's this device right here. I can bring it out for you. This is the device that's made by Canada. This is a generating platform. Whatever this is, they get these refractors here to start generating this intense, as you saw, light. Did you see the rose-colored pictures that were showing up there?
Yeah.
Okay, so here you can see it. Here's the device. I'll blow it up for everyone. So here it is, right here. They point, I think it's actually plasma, because I caught at the beginning of this series, I caught it malfunctioning. That was smoking in space, and I'd like to know how that happens. Now, you see what happens? It starts generating this intensity right here. And look at the light that this thing throws off. You can't find this footage anymore. Look what happens here. It's getting more intense. And it's an enormous amount of power that's being generated up there, folks. I mean, I don't know where they're getting the power source to do this. And watch what happens here. It absolutely obliterates the picture.
So there's no way that's just a sun reflection reflecting off of it?
It's the middle of the night.
Well, the sun's still out there, right?
No, the sun's on the other side of the Earth.
Oh, okay.
I sent Rex a link that was talking about, I mean, I don't know if he saw it or not because he's got some people bombarding him, but yeah, I sent him a link about them making plasma balls on the ISS. They were just out there shoving gas in it at high temperatures and letting these little spheres go off into space.
Yeah, so if you look at the first of this, so that's that device. That's an artificial lighting device that is bright as the sun, as all of you can see. Those are, by the way, these are not normal.
Rooney.
These are not normal. Do you see these shields right here? Those are.
Wait,
yeah, those.
take these pictures? Like, where did you just? I have to play. I'm sorry, I just asked stupid questions. But where?
No.
Where did like you took these pictures?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How?
They actually used to have the cameras 24/7 live. They actually had they keep them up, but they don't do as well as they do. I'll send you the link. You can actually go. Now,
Have you been watching that like back when people used to use their TV satellite dishes to intercept the ISS feed and the STS missions? Is that what you're talking about? Or
no, this was actually a live feed that now here is the device that is breaking down. We see a beam of light hitting this right here, and I'll blow it up so you can really.
Right, I lost it. What happened to it? Where you get it back at?
Do you see this light beam coming in? It's hitting something here, and it begins to malfunction. It's actually smoking. And as you see the sequence of pictures, I actually bring it out for you so you can actually see what's happening. Never did figure out where. I know where this is on the ISS, but you can see the bright light that it's shining. This was a really weird experiment they were doing. Here you can actually see that it's breaking down. The light again, the intensity is now hitting this shield here. Is this weird or what?
Yeah.
Very odd.
And there it is, breaking down totally. There it is.
Wow.
So anyway.
Very interesting stuff.
Did you show the eclipse pictures?
Yeah, I can get that.
I just thought that was pretty cool.
Well, there's only 9 minutes left now for the rapture to happen. So,
Jim, I got some good news. Everybody.
All right.
I've got breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. This is incredible. I'm so excited. I'm going to go get my flu vaccine. Check this out. The new flu vaccines are actually putting the ingredients on the outside of the box. I just got this from a nurse in Dallas. She's a friend of mine. She's awesome. She's been on the show before.
We should bring her on right now.
Well, she's at work. Otherwise, she works in the emergency room. So that's, I would love to have her on. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Get your flu vaccine because you'll get shot up with dog cells. I'm not exaggerating. This is right on the outside of the box. And let me share this with you right now. Prepared from virus propagated in Mandan Darby canine kidney cells and then injected directly into your blood with formaldehyde. Let's go. Sign me up. Where do I get my flu vaccine? Grandma's going to get it for me.
So what are we
I have a sudden urge to lick my genitals.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
Jeff wants to lick his balls.
The Rex SV40 thing came out, and they were using monkey kidney cells, and they gave all kinds of people cancer viruses. And
Oh, I love monkeys.
they put HIV. Well, they were doing the same thing. It sounds really similar that they're using the kidney again, the kidney cells. That's what they did with SV40, and a bunch of people got sick.
But it's
from that.
from a dog, so it's okay.
Right. I mean, I don't know why we should be afraid of that.
I don't know.
I just got
I'm
hurt.
so excited. I'll get a 10% discount too.
Let's talk about. So, if you want to see, I don't want to say her name just in case. You can go on my Scorpio series, and she's on my show too. That's why I brought up the nurse.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent.
Angela, she's the best.
Wayne, are we still doing our Not Your Normal Sunday morning show tomorrow morning?
Oh, yes, we are, because I think we're going to have a lively show.
Tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Yeah, lively, because everybody's alive.
So remember, Channel 27, Heidi Vandenberg, Leak Project with Rex Bear, R. Wayne Steiger. Ransom, I still don't know. You have a channel, right?
Well, I kind of call things different every time. Like sometimes I'll make stuff that says 420 TV. The next time I'll just make a music video and just call it that, call it a day. I just barely got, because of being on last night, got more than enough subscribers to name it. So now I got to sit down and figure out what I.
And then Ingina channel, TAMU NGINA.
Is it Tamu or Tamu? Tamu.
Ingina.
The way I remembered Heidi is like
Nagina.
Like you're going to call her Tom. So it's Tom Moo.
Very good. But wait a minute. we've all shared our experience. Where's yours, Jeffrey?
Oh yeah.
That's it. Thought he was getting out of it. No.
Was it when you were speaking in tongues?
No, that wasn't creepy. That happened all the time.
Who's speaking in tongues?
Jeff.
I got a couple of them, but I'll share. Back when I was a baby evangelist, I went down to Central America with an old evangelist.
What's a baby evangelist?
I was maybe 25, 26 years old.
Okay.
I was an evangelist, and it's actually a missionary evangelist. So we went down into Central America, and we were actually hacking with machetes through the jungle to go into this village and talk to these people. And we went in there. They had the bones in their faces, the whole 9 yards. It was like a thatched hut. It was open on the sides. And we were there preaching Jesus, as silly as that sounds. But anyway, we went there and we were preaching. I was doing most of the preaching that wasn't being all that effective. But the last night, my buddy was preaching, and he was probably 50 at that time. And we had the half logs sitting on the ground, and guys were sitting on the logs. There was a aisle in the middle. I'm sitting back on the platform, which was behind him watching. And in walks this guy with the big headdress on, carrying a big spear. And I thought, oh man, that's the witch doctor. As soon as I saw him, I knew it was the witch doctor. So he walks down the aisle right in the middle of my buddy's sermon. And none of these people spoke English, so we had an interpreter. He walks up and right in the middle of my buddy's sermon and says, your God has no power, perfect English. I'm going to show you power. So he's got my undivided attention. He lays down on the ground and he starts to float. He starts to levitate. And he got up about 2 feet high, and I'm about ready to rebuke him in the name of Jesus thing. My buddy nudges me, and I look at him. He says, no. He didn't say anything. He just said, no. And the guy got up about 4 feet, and I looked at my buddy again. He's like, no, just wait. This guy, this witch doctor, got up about 6 feet high, 6 feet high. In the middle of a jungle, there was no wires. There couldn't have been anything. This dude was 6 feet high, levitating in the air. I call him a witch doctor, but probably now I would call him a shaman because I know a little bit more about it. But he's 6 feet in the air, floating. And my buddy looks at me and says, okay, now, Jeff. And he said that out loud. So I was a disciple of Jimmy Swagger, so I gave him the best. In the name of Jesus, I rebuke you. And I said that to him, and he fell from 6 feet high, down on the ground, boom. All the dust went up. He knocked the wind out of himself. So he's... And when he came to, he couldn't speak English anymore. But him and every single one of the people in that village, quote unquote, got saved. That's probably the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
I believe that because that's like that game, light as a feather, stiff as a board, right? And you lift your friends up, like when you play that game.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that game works.
Well, that's the weird.
So was it the name that took over? I mean, because, that's the interesting thing.
No, it was the power. I've wondered about that for many years, but it was the power of my intention.
See,
I could have.
Can he speak now? You probably killed the man.
No, he was fine after that. I could have used the name of Mickey Mouse if I really believed in the power of Mickey Mouse. It was just the power of my intention. I actually believe it was an astral hologram, but that's for another show. We only have 2 more minutes until the rapture. So is there any last words next air before we go up in a cloud of glory?
Yeah, let's party like it's 2 minutes before the rapture.
Heidi Vandenberg, any last words?
What do you have, Tamu? What was that?
No.
I'll wait for Heidi. It's Heidi.
Last words, Heidi?
Knight of Swords reversed. I don't know what that means, but just say it.
Any last words? Tiger?
That's my words.
Party on, Garth.
Ransom, any last words?
I kind of want to add to what you were saying about intention there. I think you should keep mindful of your intention and keep it positive, because when you let your own mind float off into negative or self-sorrow or any of that kind of stuff, you're spreading that around. It's not just on you. You're pushing that out into the universe. So keep everything positive that you can. I mean, to your conscious ability.
Can I do want to say
Let's
one
get
thing.
Tamu's last words first, Heidi.
Tamu, you go first.
Okay, so I just wanted to pull a card from the
1 minute, Tamu.
deck of initiation. It's the card of commitment. So as we leave here today, and hopefully we will still be here tomorrow, this is about a rededication to the self and the evolution of the spirit. A conscious promise to the self has been made. A stand has been taken. Determination to reach forward and to grow toward potential. So this is what I encourage all of us to do, to stay committed.
Yeah. Rex, pull that card, Heidi.
No, I'm going to say one thing.
Okay, go for it.
I do believe that everybody here has such a purpose and so much potential that's watching. And note the lovers.
I was going to say, wow.
Okay, the temperance. Okay, I just like this card. I don't even know what it means, but I just like this card for some reason. Okay, here's the deal. Everybody has their own shitstorm of problems. So the best thing to do is not feel guilty.
We made it. We survived.
We survived. Okay, Heidi, keep going. I want to hear what you have to say.
Release the guilt, release the fear, release all the nonsense that you're worried about. I don't care if you've I don't know, I'm not even going to say what I would normally. If you've killed someone, oh well. I'm saying it release it all. Let it go.
Yeah.
New start, new beginning, revelations. That's revelations, in my opinion, is death, endings, whatever. But guess what? This is revelation in my heart is death and rebirth, ending a cycle to renew yourself, to a cycle that was a nonsense cycle that took you down. It made you feel like you were at rock bottom. Okay, so now everybody needs to just understand that, accept it, not
commit to a new way,
and commit to the new best you.
And love yourself and love each other, Rex. Be excellent.
I'm working on it too.
Everybody.
Don't worry. I have to work on this myself. I'm great at giving advice.
Ransom, what is that?
I was going to ask you guys if you ever seen it. Some guy brought this to my house and he said, hey, I don't know why, but I just thought of this.
That's crazy.
Today the guy brought me a prosthetic leg for some reason. He just said, well, you said you like weird stuff, so now I got a prosthetic leg outside too.
Holy crap.
I'm wondering
weirdest gift you ever got.
In case you ever need an extra one, man.
Well,
that is so crazy that somebody gave you that.
I was hoping one of you guys knew, what is this supposed to be?
I saw that the other night on your thing. I'm like, what?
Oh my God. Do you know what that looks like? The freaking Three of Swords in the heart with the whatever. That's what that reminds me of.
I don't even know if the whole thing is here. Somebody was making something.
Let me find the card that makes me think of that.
I don't know what it is, but it's really weird looking. So I thought I would just keep it. And
let me call Moonstone, see if she will answer.
I have no idea what that is, but it is and interesting at the same time.
Rex, are you dying to say something?
Let's call a friend.
I'm living to say something. Isn't this exciting, man? I mean, Jeff, if you really think about it, everybody, isn't this amazing what we can do? Like what Heidi said a minute ago. She can't stand most people, but right now, like me, I can't stand almost everybody. And they can't stand me. So it's not like it's just me. They don't like me. It's totally. But you guys are great. And we can actually bounce ideas off of each other. We can get hundreds of thousands of people together and actually come up with some great ideas. So not only is it exciting, but it's beneficial. It's a win-win situation. And it's a way for us to kind of be a part of something and still be in our own happy shell at the same time, I guess you could say. Instead of us having to go out and be around 100 people that we don't really resonate with, we can talk to each other and all resonate. And it's interesting because, real quick, when I did that show yesterday on Hermes Trismegistus, the great Pymander, the divine Pymander, these ancient texts, he said, look, don't go out and hang out with a bunch of people that are going to suck your energy, basically. And that's what we do. We're trying to wake people up and they're attacking us. I mean,
this is fun. This is guys, this is therapy right here for us.
It's better than therapy.
Yeah.
It's therapy and an education. So,
well, Tommy just said stay vomited to your education.
You know that was a typo. Autocorrect.
Yes.
No, one last thing. I do believe, the hermit, I think everybody here, and I think our biggest message, my biggest message is just be open to listening to everybody's beliefs, systems, ideas. That's what I love about Rex. All of you guys, everybody here, we're all open. We're about as open as they get. Too open, probably, where we scare people. And that's just the way we are. We have all these different groups of knowledge and all these different backgrounds, all these different cultures here. And the best thing to do is just listen. The more you know, knowledge is power. I don't care if it's knowledge about how to rob banks. It's still knowledge. It's still power, right? You learn something from it. The point is,
you got to get away with robbing a bank. I'd be interested in that knowledge.
No, I would never rob a bank. I'm all about the karma. So I would never rob a bank. I would but point is, you have to
Bazinga! Hello.
Listen to everybody and keep your mind open to any type of idea, religion, belief. Listen to it. Why not? You might get a good point out of it. You might learn something new. I learned 7,000 things tonight. 7,000, I think, maybe.
Eat the meat, spit out the bones.
Wait,
like
did
that.
you just say
I don't eat meat. I don't eat chicken wings because the hairs on them. Sorry. Like when you can see the hairs, it makes me sick. Just kidding.
Yeah, I don't like to eat things with hairs on them either. I'm with you.
Oh, God.
You know, this may be.
I don't think he does either.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he does. He's picky like me.
You're not going to put on your MAGA hat for us?
No, not tonight. We'll offend people. We're trying to be. I know. I'll wear it one day. It's really cute. I'll have to wear a red shirt with it.
What were you going to say?
What hat you wearing?
I think we may be entering in a time of Gnosticism, the Gnostic, the sharing of true knowledge.
Yes.
And I am convinced that we have been in the dark ages because of the knowledge that's been hidden. And,
absolutely.
You know, something happened in 1945 in that period of time of the last century. And from that, you know, we found the Nag Hammadi, which brought out the fact that the Gnostics had something that was even older than the literalist of Christianity. And I think that this knowledge that has been somehow ingrained in us to be forbidden. When I say pagan or paganism, it immediately conjures up something very negative. What if it's just the opposite? What if that was deliberately injected into our consciousness? Because here's my challenge as we check out tonight. I don't think that Satan is the bad guy that everyone is talking. As I said earlier to begin with, show me where Satan attacked the Jews. Show me where Satan attacked the Israelites. Show me where Satan, the Watchers, why didn't they worship Satan? Where was Satan in the Old Testament? I'll tell you where he was. He was talking to God. So it's not until when we see postmodern Christianism being born that suddenly we have to have an antithesis to the Christ. And it just so happened that they borrowed the God. Well, they went and had borrowed another one called Satan. And I contend there was no worship of Satan until the church invented it.
So I got a question for both of you guys on that. What you said is, where was Satan?
Yeah.
So at the beginning, there's fallen angels, right, at this story.
Genesis 6:4.
Yes. And then later, there's Job.
Well, Job 1:6-9.
Lucifer, right?
No, that's where you're wrong. Lucifer.
No, where does he come across them? It's not on Earth, is it?
No, Lucifer doesn't exist.
Well, okay, so who's he talking to in the story about?
He's talking to Satan. He's actually talking to Satan. Satan is called.
I'm sorry, wrong word then, Satan.
Yeah.
But it's not on Earth, is it, that they are talking?
No. They're in heaven. They're actually, Satan is one of the sons of God.
Right. So he couldn't have been one of the fallen ones if he's allowed in heaven, right?
Exactly.
That's what I mean. I'm sorry I called him Lucifer.
Well,
Satan and Lucifer have been the same iconic pitchfork, horny, red-skinned guy that they've,
But you see, that is a Dark Ages imagery that you just said. That is a spell. That is part of the spell that was cast on humanity. Because I contend for anyone to show me where there was any worship of Satan prior to the church.
And on that note, we should probably
yes, we can.
Yes,
we can. Thank you, Satan. Thank you, Satan. Yes, we can.
Gina. Thank you to Ransom. Thank you to R. Wayne Steiger. Thank you to Heidi Vandenberg. Thank you very much to Rex Bear. And thank you to every one of you that has tuned in tonight. Tune into all these great channels. We made it through another rapture. We made it through another end of the world. The end of the world as they know it has happened, and we all feel fine.
Hey, can I say something? Out of everybody watching right now, the first 2 people that go to my channel, I don't care if you're subscribed or not, just subscribe if you're not. will get a free 30-minute reading.
Whoa.
Boom.
Hey, there you go. Wow.
Say you saw it on there and go over there and you'll do 30 minutes. I'll do 30 minutes.
Wow.
You got
you'll get it within 2 weeks. I'll even expedite the delivery.
Wow.
And I will offer the same.
Wow.
Look at this. See? Wow, we're so generous.
I'm going outside to wait for the rapture because I still have hope.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being involved in this. It warms my heart. Namaste to every one of you. I look forward to seeing your channels grow. I look forward to us getting together again. And we should do this. We shouldn't have to wait for the end of the world to do this again sometime.
I know. We should do this on a monthly basis. I think we should.
Absolutely. Rotate it among all the channels.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Like a group therapy session.
Absolutely. All of you guys, thank you so much. This was awesome. It's 12:10 in the morning here, so I know Tom is about ready to turn into a pumpkin. We don't want that on camera.
I've been working all day, guys.
I have been hanging.
Jeez Louise. All right.
Everybody, thank you so very much. I'm Jeffrey Doherty, the Christian Whistleblower, for all of these great people. Be excellent to each other. And as I like to say, make the change. Rex says be the change. Let's make the change we want to see. For Talmu, Ransom, Heidi, Wayne, and Leak Project, Rex Bear, I'm Jeffrey Doherty saying so long and good night.